And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah. No fear here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, A from the B, E-A-U-T, full studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com. All right, man, I'll get better tomorrow. All right, this is David Rodriguez. I'm looking forward to this. Been building up to this all day at 2 hours, getting up to David. And I met him at Acapulco, and, good friends with Richard Grove highly recommended we get him on. Now he's on. David Rodriguez is a passionate advocate for empowerment and respect in education. After selling a business at age 26, he moved to South Korea to teach English at a private school, having a background in biotechnology and healthcare. He founded Education Options to empower parents and students in education. In 2014, he started an expo in San Jose, California, where parents can meet innovators in education and easily research schools that empower students, like Montessori schools, democratic schools, homeschooling cooperatives, unschooling. More recently, he is republishing John Taylor Gatto's 2015 edition of The Underground History of American Education, which has a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul and is scheduled for release this summer. EducationOptionsNow.org. I give you Mr. David Rodriguez. Hello.
Morning. Great to be here, Ernie.
This is, it's timely. It's timely. I remember I was telling the audience, L. Neil Smith is a science fiction writer, libertarian, and a good friend. And in the 90s, he was making the comment, he goes, just imagination is being stripped from Generation Next. The sci-fi section at the grocery market is being replaced. You go to Blockbuster Video and it's being morphed into action and horror. You have, this just imagining, this Tomorrowland, this Disney promise of the 60s of anything is possible. Jetpacks at the 68 Olympics kind of showing, going around like, where's my flying car? Okay. So then you have it's just a minute. I want to get this in the first section here so that we can comment on this. It's John Taylor Gatto doing just about a minute that I wanted to play. The trapped flee principle. Let's go ahead and just listen to a minute or two of John Taylor Gatto here, and you'll see what I mean.
Here's the most radical thing I think I've ever had to say. The computer business is exclusively the work of school dropouts. Bill Gates, who demanded, in effect, that everyone be sent to college, himself dropped out of college his freshman year. His partner, Paul Allen, who only has 10 or 12 billion, is a dropout as well. Steve Jobs is a dropout from Reed College. I think he only had a term, but maybe he had two. His partner, Steve Wozniak, is a dropout. Michael Dell, you guessed it, a dropout. Larry Ellison, the CEO of Oracle, a dropout. Who the hell are these people to say we all need 4 more years in the lockup? Copying notes off the board. And I submit to you, had it been up to colleges and research universities, we would either not have a computer business, we certainly wouldn't have the computer dominance of planet Earth, and we would have some tortured, by the numbers, primitive Now, that's the computer business. When you move to the fast food business, it's even more radical. Get Fast Food Nation for the verification of this. Every founder of every fast food franchise was either a high school dropout or an elementary school dropout. They don't bother with college.
You know, this point right here is just so, it's so stark. Well, where does the innovations that we've had and the inspiration that we get for Generation Next comes from not more education? And I think it's a good point that John Taylor Gatto made is these people are getting with the program, saying we got to have more education of what we didn't feel we needed. We were above and beyond, and I'm wondering, if that's still holding up now, David.
Well, I mean, the school system, Ernie, as you know, and, all the people talk about, and John Gatto's been listening for years, it's been designed to create obedient workers. And this is the most alarming aspect of it, that, they actually want to control what's even unborn yet. And so these social engineers, the last 150 years, I mean, that's, like you mentioned, imagination. This is the key. And they actually expressed desire and intention to remove this from our children because, I mean, that's really what makes us different, from animal species in general, is we can envision, we can prepare and plan and create a tomorrow, a future that is beyond just our, consumption and, the bodily functions of, a human being, and really manifest what is it to be a human being. I mean, these are the core questions that I think most students and human beings feel, but the school system doesn't even give you a chance. You're taught from a young age that memorization and regurgitation of these facts is valuable, and you just played that clip by John Gatto about the top 3 industries in the U.S. were founded by people who definitely didn't go to college, or they didn't complete college, and they either dropped out of high school and even middle school. That when you realize that there's a pathway you have as a person, then you want to take that path. And, man, 12 years of forced attendance, I mean, this has got to be one of the most immoral criminal enterprises, in history, perhaps, behind, the military-industrial complex. And
it's all part of the same thing.
My gosh, whose life is it? If you really break down the details of what the system does and is doing, it's mind-blowing. How can this have been going on for so long? And one of the reasons they do that is they change the history, right? So they tell us that, forced schooling's a good thing, and it was always welcome with open hands, and come on, let's force our kids in school. But that's not what happened. They were forced with a horse and the police at gunpoint to take the kids to school. 1850s and 60s when it was coming through in the U.S. because the populace realized that, hey, this is bad news, right? They don't even mention education in the Constitution or Bill of Rights because it's dangerous. You don't want the state, the force, tell us what to do. And anyway, so that's what's good, is that Gatto's been blowing the whistle and shedding light on it. And so now we have enough facts and compelling evidence that, we just got to come out and say it's not good, And so part of the challenge is helping parents realize. It's pretty hard to say I was indoctrinated for, let's say, 12 years, right? And this is happening on a mass scale today, right? There's 55 million kids today who will be going to school, and they don't have a choice. It's like someone has taken away their rights as, this is not your life. This is the state, and this is the curriculum, and this is, you got to, get these good grades. If you don't get these good grades, you're not going to have a successful life. And nothing can be further from the truth.
Oh, and by the way, you get a loan and you got debt and be a tax slave to the state and a debt slave to your education of making you more subservient to the state, and kind of you're going to fund your own oppression and indoctrination and thank you. And I'm going, that's bad, is bad. More what the solution is with David Rodriguez. Come back and talk about education options.
To be a part of the show, call 602-264-2800, 602-264-2800, and now, Ernest Hancock.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, where there's a lot more freedom, for homeschooling, and it's because of the Mormon community. You got to say thank you for that, because they're going, nah, we're good, we'll take care of it, especially, with our 15 kids. You think I'm kidding. My aunt and uncle had 15 kids. That they could keep a school district going. Well, we had our 4 when our oldest was in 3rd grade. We go, yeah, we're done. And here in Arizona, the way the law works, David, it goes like this. It said you had to inform the education department or somebody in something, that you weren't going to be using their services anymore. And that's how I read it. And I go, oh, it sounds good to me. Go into the first, by May of the previous year, I'm going, no, we're done. I'm tired. I spend more time trying to de-indoctrinate or actually educate them than them just, if I just educated them at home, I could do better than this. So, right. And without all the crap. So what I did is I go in the first day, oh, Mr. Hancock, hello. And, we got 4 children here. We're going to make us some money, So I go in and I say, can I borrow while you were out, little pink slip there? Turned it over to whom it may concern. Hancock children no longer be attending government schools. I signed it, put it on the desk. They'll peace out, walked out, never heard from them again. Now, that is what's able to be done here in Arizona. Now, other states, and plus, just leave Ernie alone. But in other states, I've done shows to where, oh no, if you don't go through all the hoops and you're allowed or whatever, they give you a summons of you got to produce the children and a court order of they must be tested, and they get there. This one couple in Massachusetts, they bring their 2 like 12, 13-year-old kids, a boy and a girl, and they sit there and just stared at the test paper. Hey, we complied. We came. What are you going to do? Put an M16 to a 13-year-old's head and say, take a test? So this is what the battle is going on. What is the solution that you're offering? Tell us all about what you're doing, David.
Absolutely. The quote that keeps coming up is that you never change things by fighting the existing reality. You got to create a new model that makes the old model obsolete. I mean, that is the quote I heard, 18 months, 2 years ago, and I said, man, that is it. Because once I saw what happened with Ron Paul and votes being, skewed and the digital fraud and all these different things, like, it doesn't matter if you have the most pure person, trying to change the world if the system doesn't count their vote. So the whole idea behind education options and what I intend to do for, many years here is give parents choices which are real choices, not, which classroom to force your child into, but actual choices. And so they, like you mentioned, there's homeschooling, there's democratic schooling, there's homeschool cooperatives. Some even charter schools are okay. I mean, with charter schools comes with money, so there's always attachments and strings. But the idea is that we cannot entrust the system. And my mother was a teacher, and I have family who are actually still teaching in principles in the system. It's not the people in the system which have malintent. A lot of them have good intent, but the idea is to provide parents choices and pull them out of the system, and a total indoctrination system of, obedient state worship and, not thinking critically, and empowering parents to say, this is your responsibility. Don't entrust this to people that you don't know, complete strangers. And so that's the idea, is you give them choices. And one of the biggest hurdles parents have is they're busy. They're putting food on the table. And they'd like an hour of maybe free time to spend with their husband or wife, or, come home and relax. So it's like, it's such a big venture to go out and research different schools and, find out what's good and bad and costs and, pros and cons and all these different things. So the idea behind education options is to provide a venue. I've held 2 events, and we bring out speakers. Actually, my next event will have Dana Martin, one of the famous unschooling voices and advocates. And then there's other founders of schools, innovators, people that are actually doing something to empower the parents and give them real choices. And so the quote that I love is the one you guys keep saying, is we got to make these models superior. And more.
You just make the system obsolete by just having something. I don't need you anymore. And
right.
but they want to make that illegal or have a bad taste. It's just like you don't love your children enough because you don't have them pledge allegiance at home enough. I mean, when I got kindergarten, preschool. 3-4-year-olds, it's on their agenda for the day. It's like we do this, we pray, we this, we that. You go to some religious daycare, they have and pledge allegiance. So we have Grandparents' Day. We go there, and the kids start, I pledge allegiance, blah, blah, blah. How many of those words they even understand? And then you have the audience, man. Somebody clicks their heels and snaps to, and everybody stands up. And who can say it loudest? While Donna and I are sitting there with our androids videotaping, sitting down going, putting on what the hell just happened? You see my point? And I'm just going, it's a societal thing it's beat into us by the system, whatever. Describe the system for me. When you think about the system, as you went through this Ron Paul, kind of education of how the system works, what is it you think the system is? Who are they?
Well, I mean, to get specific, I would say a lot of people within Skull and Bones, Trilateral, Bilderberg group. I mean, these are people who have been, colluding for decades and many times more. That they want a world government. This is the fact, and it's hard to really, get this across to people who have not entertained the idea. But I mean, a world government is what they want. UN Agenda 21. I mean, folks, this is a plan that they have in store for your kids and grandkids. So it's just a reality. And I think the system in general would be a system of force. I mean, the only way these gangsters and mafia members can make you do something is by putting a gun to your head. And I mean, that's the reality, is that if you're using force, you're part of the system. If you're using voluntary exchange and respect within relations, then you're being a human being. I mean, this is not a new idea, but to be in relationship with people on a peaceful basis with voluntary interaction, I mean, this is the highest level. So in the system, the financial system, I mean, there's so many industrial complexes. There's prison industrial complex. And I mean, it's just all them boys who get together, hang out, and have disregard for the average person. I would include them inside of the system. And
well, I mean, when they say the average person, to me, there's no, I was sitting we watched Tomorrowland yesterday, which I highly recommend because it was perfect. It's for 6-year-olds and their parents, grandparents, kind of the inspiration of when I was a kid in Disney and Tomorrowland and the future and jetpacks. I mean, that's all you need is inspiration. The rest of it is just, here's an iPad and freaking a couple of search terms and peace out, man. Go learn to code and build your own spaceship 3D printed with carbon nanofibers. I mean, knock yourself out. Right. And I could see this coming. I go, you want to solve the energy problem? Well, just wait. It's going to be, a 11-year-old in his grandmother's basement in Boston that, mixed a toaster with an ionic breeze solved. I mean, it's just, here we go.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Yeah, we take care of business. What are we doing with our grandkids? We're talking about how this all started is we're watching, okay, what kind of G-rated, all the kids, we don't get in trouble, parent kind of stuff we can watch. So there was a Homeward Bound. It's about, 2 lost dogs and a cat, and they got to, make their way back and so on. So they, thought that was cool. Well, one of the voices in there, Michael J. Fox, played. I go, yeah, that's the guy from Back to the Future. Back to the what? And I go, oh, we already watched the second one. We got to get into the third one now, and that'd be Western stuff. And so, Back to the Future. Then to get time travel, just the concept of future and back and going in and even thinking they can go into the future, and then they go, there, man, just blew their mind. So this inspiration, this kind of fun, this is just very powerful. with a young mind. I know. I used to have one. So this is the kind of thing that I really want to emphasize, and David Rodriguez is right on line with this. But let's go ahead and get some things out. One, the webpage. Where do they go to get more of this information, David?
educationoptionsnow.org, if they can find me.
educationoptionsnow.org. Now, you got some upcoming events or projects you want to promote?
Yeah, I have an event coming up in March 2016. This is the third expo, which we've held, and it's about a half-day event from about 10 to maybe 3 p.m., and we're going to have about 5 or 6 speakers mentioned. Dana Martin will be there, founder of the Agile Learning Center. It's a really interesting model will be there from New York, and a few other speakers and vendors, and this is in San Jose, California. So if you have people in the area, come through, and we're actually going to be talking about existing meaningful options which parents can exercise, and in one day, come hang out with us and learn what's going on in the future of education, and come out and hang out with us.
Okay, so this is in what city?
San Jose.
So San Jose, which is what? Silicon Valley?
Yes, Silicon Valley, basically an hour south of San Francisco. And
you probably have a lot more of they get it audience there. They may be highly educated, but they go, you know what? We're going to go to Elon Musk school that created for his son.
Well, absolutely. When you posted that, because I was catching on to that too, his Ad Astra school, and I'm actually going to reach out to his director if I can track him down and see if they want to come speak. But because he's such a high-profile guy, I'm not sure. I mean, they can easily fill their school if they wanted enrollment, but Elon had some kind of concerns about what his kids were learning, and I would love to take him down the rabbit hole a little bit and expose him to some of the primary sources and the work of Gatto and Iserbit and some of these people who are in their 70s and 80s and committed their life to revealing the realities. And I mean, he has a voice, and he's an innovator, so.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's done some of this research. He already knows. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. But skip to like the Khan Academy. I remember when Khan gave a TED Talk, and I think even before the TED Talk, we were doing stories a long time ago on when they started the videos. And what it was is his nephews or cousins or something. The younger, they were having problems with calculus or whatever, and he would do these just blackboard kind of paint videos explaining it to him and doing it fun, and they go, yeah, I like you better on video, uncle whatever, because, they got to rewind and pause and go and understand the concept. They started sharing it at school, and the teachers were like, oh my goodness, and these kids are getting it. Well, then he started adding more, but then it's success. It's going. We can actually do some tracking. We can see how they're mastering it. They're got it on a graph. So then we need to get it in a school system, and then Bill Gates starts funding, and then we're going down the dark side, are we?
Right.
I don't know. The Khan Academy is, Bill Gates gets involved, or are we going to have one size fits all of, plugged in and get the geniuses and take them off to work for DARPA? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of times they want to co-op or identify the young leaders and, put them in their programs. But, I mean, I think Khan started off very, pure, and I still have to, find out the details on that. But I know one thing. I invited him to come speak at my event, I guess it was last year, and his honorarium was $30,000. I was like, oh, all right.
How bad do you want me to speak?
I mean, we're trying to help people who can barely pay, $500 a month, and, you're asking for, 100 times that. So, exactly. So what is his intention? I mean, it's hard when you associate with, top 3, top 2 wealthiest person in the world, somehow family's connected to eugenics, and, he's pro-vaccine. And, I mean, the idea behind forcing people with vaccines is if it's such a good thing, then let me choose. Don't force me. So,
well, I started to realize when my grandchild, first one, started going to school, going to kindergarten or something like that, how many, sniffles they bring back. It's just a breeding, and that's why they go, we need to herd immunity. That's how they see you. You're a herd. You're part of the livestock. And your chickens, cows, and pigs all crammed into one little, everybody's going to get, we need to get a herd immunity, because they think in terms of collectives and herding. So, of course, they see us like livestock. And then when you do that, that's why homeschooling and you can keep them home. The other parent of, hey, man, don't put that kid here. Or like grandparents, yep, all the grandkids that are sick come to grandma, grandpa, you come here to be sick, and so we can nurse you back to health and and you watch TV or something. I mean, well, so this is and get educated. And then, so I'm going, this is a whole different mindset of what they have in store for us. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the other things, your successes. I mean, how the progress that you have made since you started this. How did you start this? Why did you start it? And where are you at in your project?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I was taking this project from something called Landmark Education, something with the Self-Expression Leadership Program, doing personal development, right? Because the real work in this lifetime, in my view, is working on ourselves, right? I mean, we can't change the people outside of us, and on a good day we can, change ourselves, but it's dealing with ourselves, helping ourselves manifest our potential, and so this requires a lot of work. I mean, heavy lifting, mental work, and working with ourselves and understanding where we come from. Anyways, there's this program. It started off as just a project, right? And, I have a business degree. I had, good grades in school and everything like this. But why was I never asked, hey, what kind of project do you want to do? Let's set a 5-month goal here, and you set the project, and we'll encourage you and we'll support you. And that's what this program was. It was supposed to be an event, but it was such aligned with my purpose that I said, man, let's do another event. I mean, this is really cool. I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of good feedback. People are telling me, hey, you're really onto something here. I think this thing has legs. And so I said, all right, so let's do it again. So we did it again in the fall, 2014. And so I said, okay, all right, there's some things to work out and bugs to work out. But one thing I know is that the most precious thing we have is our mind and our free will and our ability to create and imagine. And once I was able to conclusively decide or see through the research that they did this on purpose, I mean, I took personal offense. I'm like, I don't care if it was 150 years ago or 200 years ago or 1,000 years ago. The fact that social managers want to control my life before I was even born, I mean, that's a problem. So that's the idea behind it. It was an event, and now this is going to be the third time we're doing it, and I have a YouTube channel. In fact, have you heard of a guy named Sugata Mitra?
I don't think so.
He did a TED Talk. He won the TED Talk for his hole-in-the-wall experiment, and the essence of it, the long and short of it, is that he put a computer in a wall in a slum in India, and it was connected to the internet.
Oh, I heard about this, and they just taught themselves and showed their neighbor, and all of a sudden they're computer literate from just this computer sitting there.
He comes back in 3 months, and he's like, well, what is it? And they're talking in English, and they're talking about, genetics and all this stuff, which they found out. And so he replicated that all around the world. And I just met him and interviewed him in New York about a month ago. And so the idea behind the YouTube channel is to give parents a portal they can come and learn about it. So we'll be uploading that soon.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to go until we're done yakking and, or I'm boring or he's got to go, and even that and the post show. That's why I want to put him in the third hour so that we can just go until we're done. Till we're done, we're going to have some more goody when we come back here in just a little bit after the break. David Rodriguez, educationoptionsnow.org.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
David Rodriguez from, get it right here, educationoptionsnow.org. Okay, this one thing I'm interested in is I want to know the audience. Who is it that you mentioned your experience with Ron Paul and that education of the system and so on. And of course, Ron would, emphasize, education in the youth and next, and, that was good. And he would bring attention to a lot of these things. And the campaign, there's a lot of people out there that got awakened to it's a systemic thing. And then they're just bypassing all the system and doing their own solutions. Well, the system is about, hey, you need to come over here and join the, PTA, PTO, the P, something, so that you can go and have an impact on the system that's not ever going to do whatever you want anyway, And there's been some kind of an awareness of this next generation of child raisers that have gone, what David Rodriguez says. And there's something changed. What was your experience with the Ron Paul Levolution thing was what?
Well, just that. I mean, I became aware of Ron Paul during the debate, I think in 2007, where he said, I'm champion of the Constitution. And I said, I don't know who this guy is, but that's an awesome way to define yourself. And so I started learning about it, and I said, okay, great, I'll vote for him. And then 2012, I actually started getting out and starting to promote and, go pass out stuff and attend a few events and some flyer hangs and stuff like that. And I was like, great, this guy has a chance, whoa, it's great. Look at all these votes and these polls and stuff like that, and he's debating. And then when they just get shut out of a debate, what was that one debate? He got like 30 seconds or 45 seconds, and the average person got like 7 minutes or something. Like, something is strange here, and you just got to deal with reality, So rather than fall into it and be negative, you say, okay, you find the positive parts and try to inspire yourself and go out there and find out what's the real solution. And the real solution is that, like Michael Jackson said, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change, right? Take a look at the man in the mirror and do that. And so the reason that's hard is because there's work involved, right? Nobody wants to do the heavy lifting, and because we're not taught that. We're taught to obey managers and just follow what people tell us to do. But when you realize, okay, it's up to me, like you said, freedom's the answer. What's the question?
But you get to express your opinion. This is my opinion. You should do this. And you don't want to do that? Okay, well, I'll wait a couple of years or 4 years, and I'll let you know what my opinion is again. Oh, my opinion. Oh, you don't want to do that either? Okay, well, I guess it's just this mental cage they put us in. Oh, we have pictures scrolling. One of them is John Taylor Gatto and you, and it looks like, he's lost a lot of weight. Now, he was ill, and I know Richard Grove and Lisa and you, a lot of people are visiting, making sure he's taken care of. We've done, help with some fundraisers and so on, promotion to kind of, do what we can to get him back to health. How's he doing?
He's doing okay based on the situations. And, he had a stroke. It's been about 4 years ago now. Half of his body's paralyzed. And, despite that, he's a really positive guy, optimistic guy as well. But, he can't sit up by himself. He can sit him in his wheelchair, but, he can't really be mobile and move himself. The good thing is that his right hand is working, and he types on the keyboard with one hand. His brain and mind is still there.
He's not done.
He's not done. In fact, over the last year, he's probably sent me maybe 30 new articles, which some might be from 2013 or 2014. But, he just sent me an article last week called The Common Core Monster, and including, up-to-date information about what's going on with Common Core. And, he's still, if you go visit him, you see he has a little iPad in his bed, right? Because he's, in the bed most of the time. His iPad, and he just kind of slouches to the left, and he's surfing the web and, looking up documents and, reading and seeing what's going on. And people still send him books, and he's still, pretty well connected. The sad thing is that his wife is now in the hospital. So, it's really difficult emotionally for him. And he just said, it's, I'm having a tough time.
Well, how old is he now? Has to be in his 80s.
You know what? He'll be 80 in, I think, December.
This is for someone that's when you first become an activist. It's late 80s, early 90s. There's a couple of things you gotta read. Gatto's speech, at the New York Teacher of the Year Award, kind of his speech there. Mm-hmm. So John Taylor Gatto there. You got to do, Atlas Shrugged. You got to do, there's some, treat, the Bastiat's the law. It's kind of, there's a few, but Gatto is always in there. And when we had him speak at the Freedom Summit, there was a lot of homeschooling, but they felt that they saved their family. They saved the future of their children. They were there. They wanted to meet them and honor them and just say they did. But I tell you, it was more of a, what's the word, a groupie thing? I mean, he had a lot of fans,
Right.
So I'm going, wow. And he deserved them. And he had such an impact on so many people. And it was one of the first touchstones. When did you first hear about John Taylor Gatto's work?
You know what? I heard about him through Alex Jones, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago or something. And it was just kind of like, oh, this is interesting, somebody. But then as you look into the work, like you mentioned his speech when he retired, and you realize he was in the system for 30 years, and he got the State Teacher of the Year award and the City Teacher of the Year 3 times and all these awards, but he's telling the truth. And he's like...
for not doing what they told him to do. You want to know how I won? I ignored you guys.
Yeah, it was interesting. He got actually runner-up for State Teacher of the Year in 89 or 90, and it was nominated in 89. So, I mean, for years, people were sending his application in. And, I mean, once you have so much good work done by your students, I mean, he had delegations from international embassies and factions coming and they're saying, what are you doing in your classroom? And he's like, well, you self-direct yourself. You find out a project and pursue it. And one of the interesting projects that I'm going to include here in the volume 1 of this Underground History of American Education is the memorial for John Lennon called Strawberry Fields in Central Park in New York City. And the city was debating whether to dedicate this 2.5 acres to John Lennon, and 3 of his girls said, hey, they declined it, and, it's not going to be a memorial. Well, long and short of it, they got together, went and got signatures and created Committee of 5,000 and overturned the decision. They wrote personal letters to the commissioners and, really made a strong effort and reversed the decision, and actually Yoko Ono rewarded these girls and invited over to the Dakota hotel, and basically said these girls took charge. It's due to these girls. So I mean, you start having multiple successes like that, and people are like, "Man, what are you doing?" And he said, "Okay, you want to see what I'm doing? Well, everything I'm doing is illegal according to school laws. So be prepared because." You gotta be a little bit of a saboteur, or a little bit of a guerrilla teacher to practice these things. And one of the things he just sent me was regarding this is that one day a week he would have students go on independent study and go to the library, walk around the city, whatever it is, pursue something for the entire day. And I said, you know what, John, I'm going to start referring this as a Gatto day, right? If you just do a day of self-study, independent study, right, kind of following your interest as it leads you.
My personal field trip. I'm going to go on my personal ditch day field trip, Gatto day.
Right. And then after you do that for a few times, you're like, okay, I'm interested in music. I'm interested in this topic. And you get into it. And the other part of the school system, which is so incredible, is the bell system, right? So if you think about the bell system, let's say you got 6, 7, 8 bells a day, and you only given 35 to 50 minutes per class.
You never learn anything.
I mean, just when you're starting to get into it, change class, change subject, math to science to physics to language to, I mean, they just change. And so you realize that nothing matters because I do this for 45 minutes. Maybe you get 5 minutes of good work in there after all the distractions and socializing and all these things. And then you're like, oh, I guess nothing matters, right? I mean, this is all subconscious programming that you don't realize. But if you're given a day with no time limits, hey, man, you're gonna pursue something that you're interested in, and you're gonna be, a lot more satisfied with the day's effort.
When we come back we're at the end of the hour, but we're going to certainly have David Rodriguez on in the future and keep track of what he's doing and the realization of when he comes across anything we should know, he will let us know. We'll get him on. But we're going to go ahead and continue our conversation. That today has been the David Rodriguez conversation, even though he wasn't there for the first 2/3 of it. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go until probably give me another 15 minutes, uninterrupted. I don't have a commercial coming. And we're going to go ahead ahead and just talk about what we might do, when we might see each other again, what projects, because I'm down this road for decades, long time. This was the purpose of everything that we've done and created and set up, was for being able to help people just like David Rodriguez. You know, why? Because I got grandchildren.
If you are successful at...
All right, there we go. What I want to do is tell me what your future plans are and how you're going to be making use of this. What are you building? What kind of audience do you have? What's the demographic?
The demographic would be parents of young kids or parents to be. Generally, if the parents have kids, let's say 12, 13, 14, 15, they're definitely still invited. But like you said, I mean, the idea is to catch the kids young, help them see their own potential and leadership abilities. I mean, the long of it, Ernie, is I want to create revolutionary leaders from a young age, and by the time they're, like you said, 11, 12, they're, creating and coding and creating, the solutions to all of our problems, and they're like, oh, yeah, no big deal, right? So,
yeah, of course. That Tomorrowland had a couple of scenes. They're not going to have a lot of the scenes up yet. It's too early. But it was this one young girl. She's, sophomore high school. She's driving. She's like 16 or something. Looks like a 14-year-old, 16-year-old. And I could see how they cast them intentionally. They wanted to get them as young as possible, give them some independence and doing kind of stuff. And she's in the class, and it has one class. They got the overhead projector on the wall, and the teacher's going, yeah, and, climate change this, and melting icebergs, and, dying fish, and toxic waste of the kind of all this negative, just boom, boom, boom. And the whole time, each class, like it's a 4-minute segment with her in all these different classes. She's got her hand up. And finally, the last guy, all right, miss, what you call it? And she goes, well, and what are the solutions? I mean, what are we doing to God? And they go, yep, and we'll see you Monday. I mean, it was a perfect example of exactly what and that's why a friend of mine went and saw that movie, and he sent it out to a bunch of his friends, and he goes, you got to watch this movie. He goes, this is great for kids. I mean, this is what we experienced as, Sunday night Disney's on, as a kid in the 60s and 70s, and Walt gets up there and says, ooh, we're going to have, the future's ours, we're going to get some. And I'm going, yay! And I wanted to give that feeling to my grandkids. Well, they're trying to take it away. Right. And I'm going, wow. So then you see, how much money it's losing. George Clooney, it's not a good movie. It's lost all the money, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going, who is panning this thing? What is the reasoning behind this? Why? I'm going, something is going on. There's something. And there's something. So I want to make use of this. There is a project that, I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about it. When I gave my speech at Anarchapulco, I think I might have mentioned it a little bit, but I'm going, it's defending Archimedes. It's like the geniuses, that are there. And I've talked to a lot of these guys over the years, and I go, oh, I know, you're a 170 IQ guy, right? Yeah, And I'm going, all right. They're thinking way down the road. I go, what program did you need? What kind of special something of kind of... No, I needed, I don't know, not be too hot or too cold, some light in a beanbag chair, and leave me the F alone. That's what I needed. And I'm going, wow, these guys, they don't want to be in a club. They don't need to be on a list. They just want to be left alone. Mm-hmm. They got it all taken care of themselves. There's nothing you're going to teach me, get out of the way. I got 170, 200 IQ, bite it. And I'm going, wow. And if we keep jerking with these guys, they go down the dark side. Their personality becomes, Dr. Evil instead of, just want to be an entrepreneur. And I'm going, and it's like, they're recruiting them to go in the DARPA, we rule the people, and of course we do because we should, because they're letting us. And this is why I'm very interested in what you're doing, because I understand the Lovolution, everything that I've done, raising my kids, pulling them out of school, going to doing everything that we did was all for this purpose. I was waiting on you. See my point?
Absolutely. No.
And
absolutely.
one less thing I got to do.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's just one less thing I got to do. If you're doing it, it's, yay, go look and see what David's doing. One less thing I got to do. I can do something else.
Right, absolutely. And you're on it, Ernie. I mean, you want to inspire people, let people realize their own power and say, okay, well, this person can do it. Maybe I can do it, and just try, right? The other part of it is that failure is so, condemned in school, but failure is a good thing because you learn and you put yourself out there, and then that's where you have the best lessons when you fall flat on your face.
Oh, this is one thing I'm teaching my grandkids now, and our kids got this. I'm going, okay, you did that wrong. Well, I go, no, that's all right. What'd you learn?
Right.
What'd you learn? Well, I don't know. Well, would you do this again or this again? No, okay, see? It wasn't a failure. You learned something. Next.
Yep.
This whole concept, I'm up here looking for that TED Talk about the computer, because I remember this. I remember we had done a story on this. I found that, like, duh. Because you see this with my 2-year-old granddaughter. One of them, her father, they have a bunch of iPads. He gets his incentives for sales of whatever the hell it was. So he's like, okay, I'll take the iPads. He's passing them out to the kids in the family. Well, his daughter has her own little mini or iPad channel or selector user or whatever the hell it is. And 2 years old, man, she's on it. Oh, she just, I know every little old thing. What are you doing?
Kids can teach themselves. Is that what you're looking for? I went ahead and put it up.
Oh, you put it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's in
Sugata Mitra, is that what you're talking about?
Yep, Sugata Mitra, and I think it was 2003 or 2004 when he won the this great award. But he followed up on it. Try the hole-in-the-wall experiment, or...
Yeah, no, I got it up. It's on top of the Freedom's Phoenix right now. Nice. There you go. Well, I remember we'd done the story, and what it was, as I remember it, it was just all he did was have the screen open and booted up and here and go play. I don't know how much screwing it up they could do, but it was enough that they could interface with it, and then you go back and check. And I think he had some graphing that he did too. He was doing some analysis of what they were searching and what they did and how much time they spent on what, and then those were the results that he was looking for, to be able to share, right?
Mm-hmm. It is, and there's one of the questions I think this was the second or third trial that he did. He's it's fine, very interesting. He gave him a question, and it had to do with like genetics, right? And so he came back in 3 or 4 months and like, oh, did you guys work on this problem? And this little slum girl, he said like 7 or 8 years old, says, well, no, but other than seeing that, modifications in the DNA strand causes cancer and illness and these kind of things, we haven't been able to find the problem, right? So it's just like, these kids are just geniuses. And that's the other thing is that Buckminster Fuller, amazing inventor, he said, every child's a born genius. The challenge is maintaining that genius while trying to please your teachers and please your parents.
Screw
Make it the genius.
Screw the teacher. I'm so done. The society supports this. See, that's why I called it Defending Archimedes. And it was just, you have all these geniuses out there, and I don't need to defend them, because when we were talking, I talked to a lot of these guys, they talked me out of any kind of a structure or organization that was, trying to track or something. And I'm going, no, it's more like a Gatto thing. It's like, look, no. It's an understanding of how the system is being used. Any conglomeration, any success, like Khan Academy, boom, here comes Bill Gates. So I'm going, because I could see what they were doing, the capacity to demonstrate how effective self-learning and mastery, and once you got that, then you go to the next, because that's what's happening. You're taking all 30 kids, and you're either keeping it slow down to the slowest speed or at the highest speed, and everybody, either the smart kids are bored, or the not as getting it kids never catch up. And that was me, in math in high school. I took aerospace engineering in college my first year. I'm going, man, I wanted it, but I had so lacking of some fundamentals that I didn't get in high school because they kept pushing me into higher classes. I'm smart in the other classes, so on, but I needed more fundamental understanding. And, some of my best friends that weren't, probably as intellectual capacity as me were better at the math because they started in a more fundamental way. So I'm going, the mastery thing. So I understood this. I was definitely impacted because I didn't have the mastery of it. But what happens? They track that. It becomes a graph. They can see what kid individual have and that's the outlier there. Now you're working for DARPA.
Right.
How far off am I?
Right. No, exactly. They have class records, and it goes from teacher to teacher, year to year. And so these teachers receive these records on these students. So, they come in, let's say, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, whatever age, and they say, okay, this person is, dumb, gifted, talented, whatever it is, and that's the direction they start leading them. So, I mean, that's the other aspect of it, is they start putting labels on it, and if somebody calls you, gifted, you want to follow along and be obedient, and if somebody says you're stupid, you're like, no, and you start to rebel, and you start to condemn yourself and limit yourself. I mean, learned helplessness. Oh my gosh, I mean, this is learning that you don't have potential, right? And they learn that at 10, 12, 14 years old. I mean, it's hard to come out of that when you're 30 or 40 years old. I mean, you're pretty much locked in, and it is sad, man. They track the students and kind of set their future. And
I don't need them tracked. Yeah. I mean, and that's another thing. We have 6 grandchildren, or 7th on the way, and none of them have been vaccinated. And that was kind of a really concern of ours, because it's parents, they're our kids, they're going to make a decision. They got spouses, and all this kind of comes up. But we just provided enough information. Yeah, we'll check this CAG look enough. They go, no, we're good. And if it gets to the point, well, your kids can't go to school. Okay, well, they don't go to school. And they kind of pulled that one here in Arizona. They went, okay, maybe it won't be a requirement, since everybody will just drop out. They didn't want it, because we were successful over the years in creating the culture of, we'll be okay without you. We're good, And so this vaccine thing, I can see, especially as they get more and more in that birth, and this light that, that the input babies, this curiosity, this light behind their eyes just kind of goes out.
Yep.
And I'm going, man, is that intentional? And I'm wondering, are these pharmaceutical companies getting paid to create problems and disease? And they wouldn't do that. That'd be wrong.
Right, absolutely. Well, I think the red flag that parents should realize is that if it's good, then why did they have federal immunity, legal immunity? Let's say your child has some bad situation occur and a bad reaction and bad stuff happens, and you can prove it was caused by the vaccine. You cannot sue the vaccine manufacturer. I mean, this is the twilight zone. When is that possible?
Oh, you can in vaccine court that's run by the pharmaceutical industry and paid for. I'm going, we followed this, man. I'm telling you, this is scary, scary stuff. What's the comparison with other countries? I mean, are we, different, or are they doing the same, or they've already gone through it and started to stop, or it's getting worse, or where are we in comparison with other countries?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the compulsion part of it is very heavy. I mean, in Africa and many other continents, they actually accept it because they're taught this is how you prevent disease. But the U.S., I mean, with the organic movement, I mean, the non-GMO movement, the against Monsanto movement, I mean, there's some actual resistance that's occurring. And so the only way they can, put the vaccines in us is by force. And that's what's happening in California. It's insane. I mean, they're saying that, I think the laws in the House or Senate right now where if it passes, then you have to vaccinate your kids to go to school. No religious exemption, no personal belief exemption, only a medical exemption. Only the doctor can say that the vaccine is not needed. But since that's how the doctors get their bread buttered, man. This is a big income stream. And a little side note, I was in the health industry for a while, and I had a buddy who was a pharmaceutical sales rep in San Diego, and I called him up. I said, hey, man, I'm curious. How much you guys making? How do you guys get paid? His particular product was a $1,000 product. When the doctor sells it, the insurance company funds it, and then the insurance company pays the pharmaceutical company, and then the pharmaceutical company gives a kickback, a rebate to the doctor of 70%. So the doctor prescribes this product, and then of that $1,000 payment, he gets $700 of it. So
just for prescribing a medication, he gets 70% of it for prescribing it.
That's exactly right. I said, my gosh.
Is that legal? I mean, not that, wow.
I mean, think about that. I mean, and then if there's no liability from your manufacturer, it's like, just keep pumping it out. There's no liability on myself. They'll have a recall. Okay, if there's some, harmful effects, maybe we do a class action lawsuit or something. But I said, dude, that's why doctors are promoting all this stuff. I mean, even the industry of psychiatrics, of mental health. I mean, these are in schools too with ADD, ADHD. I mean, these are all, in my mind, for the most part, made up diseases. It's called the DSM. And these guys get together in a room and they say, do you think this is a disease? And I think the new one is a gender gender confusion or something. There's it's a really crazy
Yeah, they
term.
watch too much Fox News. I mean, Bruce. I got to tell you this. You know when Bruce, Caitlyn, whatever the hell Jenner did his thing.
Man, yeah.
I'm like I don't care. We didn't.
Right.
That's I don't give a crap how it doesn't make it Freedom's Phoenix. And then I go, here's the story that I want. It was the publisher, some head guy is marketing something at Variety, I think it was on. And it was a internal memo that was on the open web there that we put it up that he was sending to the employees, praising them on how great and wonderful this story was and how much traffic that they got and how much video and what a demonstration of great, wonderful journalism by Variety representing the American culture. And I'm going... Right. So what's the graphic? What's the graphic that I use? Because in Freedom's Phoenix, I get to choose a graphic. So I go in, I got a graphic. So I got, Putin with his Mr. Shirt Off He-Man, I never saw a grizzly bear I didn't want to wrestle. And Putin's sitting there with this expression that says, seriously? So that's just a doink on the masculine manhood of kind of America, whatever. And I'm going, I wonder the top stories representing our culture. Is this the leaders around the world are looking at America? Oh yeah, we want to. That's a shining light on the hill. Maybe not.
Right, and it is when you see that stuff too. It's like so demasculating for like young men, right? Let's say someone 10, 14, whatever, and they're very confused. I mean, they're trying to put together reality for their worldview, and they see this stuff. This will make an impact that they have to learn how to feel about it and think about it, and so now it's in their mind. But I mean, one of my favorite movies. I don't know if we spoke about it in Narcopoco, but was the movie Braveheart.
Yeah.
Right? Where you see a champion who's actually puts his life on the line, and they don't want to inspire millions of people with this story of, this guy put his life on for freedom. So it's incredible, these distractions. And, the demasculinity is so incredible. And
there was a book I wanted to make sure you knew about. If you've got a pen or something, write this down.
Yeah.
Me doing, this stuff, and it was highly recommended. I read it, and I really liked it. It was called Brilliance. Have you ever come across that?
I think I've heard about it, but I know I have not.
It's just gifted in various different ways of people perceptions of kind of better, and they, how they're targeted, want to be outed like super friends or superheroes. Got to like the Incredibles. You got to know who all the smart people are so that we can whatever. And and how it started is they started having recognizing these features as much as you have damage done by environmental and chemical and vaccines and whatever. You're going to have some impact. I mean, you're going to have an impact on people for something. There's some impact. Well, some of this, a certain small percentage of, 0.00 whatever the heck, somebody is going to be impacted in that it changes the way they think, or that they have more processing power, or their hardware is done different. They're inspired by different things in combination with they drank a special kind of juice of whatever the hell, and all of a sudden they're smarter. So this brilliance, how would society, or certainly the government, react to, more intelligent, higher level thinking, critical, George Carlin, pointed out critical thinking people? What do they do with that? I don't know. They don't like it, and they want to. You're not allowed to be brilliant unless you're working for us.
Right.
So this is the identifying of these people. I'm wondering, see, that's one thing why defending Archimedes is not about creating a database or a group or anything. It's to be able to, as we're developing this and we talk about it, and one of these days I'll just pull the trigger on all the stuff that we have, because it's the only project of all the things that we do that I haven't solidified or promoted other than having people like you on. And the reason is because I'm like, the second that you try to control a movement, that's how you kill it. And I don't want to do that. Just like with the Lovolution, it was just, no, we're just going to promote the concept of what you're doing, self-directed. Now, when was it in the 12 campaign, Dr. Paul's effort, that you kind of went, yeah, this political thing is just no? Or are you still voting? Are you going to run out and promote Rand or what?
No, actually, that's a good question. I didn't vote this past year, right, 2014, and it was intentional. I said, wow, that's pretty interesting, because I felt empowered actually by not voting and by not saying, oh, I want this guy, that guy. I said, no, I'm the guy. I choose me, and so when that happened, I said, oh, that's pretty cool. So the idea, I mean, it's just all indoctrination from a young age, getting over that. But I think it was, I don't know, after like the second or third state or something where like Ron has all these people and there's something fishy going on. And I just said, man, this whole election is a fraud, man. This guy is the most purest guy ever. He has all these grassroots, all these viral stuff, and he's losing to these guys. That doesn't seem right. So it was at that point I was like, oh my gosh, the system is really messed up.
Oh, no, it had to tell. Everybody had to know when you got Obama versus McCain, these are your communist candidate A and fascist candidate B. I mean, you have to go, are you freaking kidding me? You know, and we had this option. I'm going, wow, a toaster would have been better than any of these. You know, so this is a realization that it came to me a long time ago, but you have to go during the Levolution, and especially with Dr. Paul telling him to get involved in politics and go be precinct, whatever. I'm going, you have, do it. You have to go through. Ernie, aren't you going to come? I go, no. I haven't voted. I run for Congress and U.S. Senate and Secretary of State. You're still voting. I mean, that's where the Levolution logo came from, was in 06. And I'm going, had been very clear to me that voting was, you're not going to vote yourself free. It was, you can make use of the process and educate. And that's what Dr. Paul was doing, you know, as much as he could kind of, you know, walk the fence. But Rand is more, we're going to like trick him into voting for a libertarian. And I'm like, no, this is just a fundraising speaking tour of, you know, continue their own little whatever the hell they're doing. Well, what is it you think Rand's impact's going to be on this cycle?
You know what? I think Rand, of all the people, he's probably the best. I mean, mainly because of his pedigree, and he was around. Another thing is this is a really key part, I think, is that because he saw his dad run for president 3 times, and he's, you know, close with him, traveling, he has seen a lot that the average person like me, you know, I have no idea what the inside of that looks like, but he's seen it, and so he's able to create his own insights, his own strategies, and
to
if
what?
possible. Well, my guess, I mean, you got to understand, I mean, the idea of statelessness, this is the revolution, and that's going to take, I mean, this is, 20, 30, 40-year game, but I think what he's doing, like what Ron did, was bringing issues to the front, discussing it. I mean, there's the Patriot Act or the filibuster he was doing over there, and, you know, grilling Hillary Clinton about Benghazi. I mean, he's done some cool stuff. But, I mean, it's like it's still within the system. So, for me, I'm like, so I support him, but I'm not voting. I'm not going to go out advocating. But in conversation, I'm saying, you know, if I was going to vote, I would vote for that guy. But, I mean, I think he's doing an educational kind of promotion as well. But I think he wants to win, too. So, I think that's why he's being less, you know, libertarian or less, you know, principle.
Whatever. I'm like, there's no central plan for freedom, so I'm just like, you know, let them, whatever, I don't care. But I'm just not inspired to, you know, go out and, you know, vote for a ruler. You know, it's like what we did with the Arab Spring. We did a lot of, remember the philosophy of liberty, you know, that animation, that, you know, the self-ownership is the philosophy. You ever seen that?
Yeah, that's a great one, yeah.
We had it translated into Arabic because it wasn't. And it's like everything else except Arabic. So we paid, 3 of us, you know, kind of came together, and we did like our $335 we contributed to the project to have a guy in Moscow translate that. Within 2 weeks, we were, Arab Spring in Cairo got thousands of DVDs in their PAL format, you know, for their DVD players there, of that video translated into Arabic. Well, the ISIL, International Society for Individual Liberty, and Ken Schoolin, that University of Hawaii economist guy behind this, he goes, what the hell are you guys doing, man? And he knew about it. He was helping to hook us up with the Moscow guy. He goes, this is now the second most popular country download of this video is Saudi Arabia, next to United States. Wow. Yeah, United States, Saudi Arabia, then Morocco and Egypt. And he goes, man, so we have our own Haria Phoenix, which is Arabic for Freedom's Phoenix. We have our own translated Twitter and Facebook account for Arab Spring. And we did all that. We still, you know, keep, Donna, are you keeping those up to date and so on? Yep, every day she's putting that stuff up and translated links of whatever. So I'm going, wow, this is where you get them. And the reason was I understood what was happening. In Egypt, the median age was like 23 or something, or 30. Right. The median age was 33, and it was something like 35% of the people were under 14. And I go, you can't get away from this demographic. And they were hungry. I mean, the economy's, I'm going, this is, of course you're going to have a freaking street revolution. And what are they advocating for? Pharaoh number 323 or something? I go, no, this is not that's why we did that. And then Cato had a translated Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, and the Constitution in English and in Arabic that you read backwards. And I'm going, each page, English on one side, that on the other. What we did is a mailing label that went on the Constitution page, and it said, we already tried this. Maybe you can do better in Arabic.
Right.
I'm not advocating for that's how we got screwed, So it's a generational thing. And I tell you these stories and our focus on this because I want you to understand how large we're thinking. I'm not limiting it to this country. I'm not limiting it to, any ideology or it's just I'm wanting to be of service to an entire generation next because during the Levolution, being an activist since '88 and building up to the Levolution, I already knew what was going to happen. Right. It's just how can you sustain this around the concept of I will take care of it myself. Once you stop waiting on people to do it for you, all of a sudden with the technology and the ability to communicate and the ability to be able to just, sensors of how many government-funded satellites are down, give me telemetry of the magnetic sphere of the Earth, of the surface temperature, that I'll do it my freaking self in my grandmother's basement, and now I know, and y'all a bunch of liars, or we need to be worried about this thing you're not talking about. I mean, this is happening, and I'm wondering what resources you're making use of and how you're marketing to them and when they come to your site or go to your events, what is it that you're offering? What's the community? What's the forum? Help me out.
Right, yeah. So this will be the third event, and so this is, this is the very beginning, right? And just long term, I intend to have a academy, offline, online academy. This is probably 2020 because a highly successful person told me, and you got it right, was that I have to think and believe bigger, faster, right? So I don't need to waste time thinking small and playing small. Get out there and play big. And so I have a project I'm working on for 2020 to do some online, offline type academy that's duplicatable and we can scale it up. But the resources right now is the site. I got the YouTube channel, and it's a physical event, right? So I think there's so much room for me to learn and grow in the technology aspect of it. But you had it right, man. Like you said, somebody was giving you grief about you promote all this technology. Well, technology is the deal. These apps and Uber and Airbnb. All these technologies outrun the state, and so I would love to create an online community and do that. For right now, it's a physical event. I do get some donations. A lot of it's self-funded. And, the idea is to have this site where parents can go there and see exactly what are their options in the area. And I think if I was thinking real big, I would try to make it nationwide. And so you would click your state, you would click your city, what real options are in my area for, homeschooling, co-ops, and private schooling, and real options. That's a big venture, and perhaps I'll do that. But that's the events next year. I'm working on Gatto with this book. We're going to come out in summer, and then fall, and then spring. And regarding that, I didn't mention it on the live broadcast, but we want to do a film, hopefully in about 2 to 4 years, where the content largely comes from the underground history. And in the book, you'll see that we made some appeals to Oliver Stone, Michael Moore, and we're going to put it out there and try to find a director who's got the courage to put this thing together. Because with Common Core, there is a revolution brewing, and some people just think it's a test, right? Like this is a bad test. But if you take a higher level view and you realize the entire system now, the state has some problems right now. The internet's still pretty much open and free, exchanging ideas, and I think they're panicking right now with what's going on. So. Yeah,
that's kind of our response to I'm always wanting them to back up their 18-wheeler full of lemons to my lemonade stand, and I'm not getting a permit, And I'm going, this is the Jade Helm deal. I mean, I'm like going, how do I respond to that? How's the Lovolution? Do we just ignore them? So we do this thing called trash can flyers that we put on. That's a long story, but we're going to really just educate people about and have fun with it and use it to where, the solution to all this state control and more solar generation. More education, more. We're off of the grid. We're getting off the grid because we know, and there's the grid and no more grid. And this is, we can, once we do the launch page for that, we've done it before. We always get, are you at a computer?
I am, yeah.
Just type in trash can flyer Freedom's Phoenix. And it'll just blow up all over the place. Go look at the PDF, and what you'll see is 8.5 by 14. We cut in half, so you have this long orange flyer that we put on your trash can after it gets empty. Don't even have to get out of your car. You just drive and just put them on the lids, and it's like Office of Total Information Awareness, Agent 4409. We went through your trash. And you got to get your mandatory shot. Did you get your interview? And call this number. And it's a newsroom at the television or newspaper or radio station. They get pissed off because they get hundreds of calls and they know it's me, But I can bring attention to anything that way. So the Jade Helm deal, what am I going to do? Yeah, look, we're going on. Because what we did before was the NSA thing. Before Snowden, we were doing this at the Super Bowl. We first started in 2008 when it was the Giants versus the Patriots during the peak of the Ron Paul thing here in Phoenix. I mean, they're just going, what the hell? I made you look, nah. So I can do that over and over until they come up and they say, you're not allowed to do that anymore. Why? Because we got a gun. That's why. Right. This is the kind of stuff that I can make you look, but look at what? So I need to have whatever you're doing, that's what I do. Made you look, but at what? We have our funding center. We have our marketplace. You got your book, your movies, whatever. That's why, Richard's enthusiastic about us working together, because I am here as a resource to help you be successful and helping me raise my grandchildren to change the freaking world. It's not any smaller than that. So people come to me and go, how do we get funding for that? How do we do that? How are you able to go? I want to, I'm going, what is it you want to do? Well, I got this idea of it, probably not big enough.
Right.
Yeah, but it's a good idea. I go, not big enough. Does it change the world? Does it serve the entire freaking planet of Generation Next? Is it going to have an impact on the world? If it's not the world, I'm not interested. You see my point?
It is, and that's exactly right. Because, like you said, you set up a platform, and I'm still learning about how to make it work. But definitely, man, I want to learn and latch on to champions like you who've been doing it, because you have great wisdom that I can learn from. And
well, I'll tell you what I need to learn from you guys is monetizing all this. I mean, we're creating the infrastructure because, see, when they start, doing the, Facebook starts manipulating your news feeds. When they start, they record everything you didn't post.
Right.
When they're doing, I'm going, wow, man. So we're creating an infrastructure off of that. Are you familiar with the Made Safe effort?
I've heard about it. I don't know. Is it encrypted email or encrypted
everything?
File?
You need to understand this to see it's getting ready to come online. We're gearing everything in the back end for this launch. Okay. Now, they raised $7 million in 5 hours. They thought it was going to be a 3-month kind of guy. I go, no, I don't think you guys understand the market. And boom. I go, told you so. No.
Wow.
So go to the site and you can watch the video later. But MAID, like you're made safe, SAFE.net. You watch that video and you'll go, holy crap. This is about ready to get turned on. That video is probably a couple years old. Now, the other thing is that Elon Musk just announced that they're going to be putting up CubeSats, 4,000 little, cheap mass production of cell phone CubeSats up, and we got an entire planet internet covered, and the man can suck it. But what does he do? He goes and gets a permission slip from the FCC. I just find out yesterday. I go, why? And this is because to keep your government contract for your rockets or something. I mean, what's going on here? So this is, I can see this, and if you'll keep me up to speed on what you're doing, successes that you're having, the resources that you're making available for, help me raise grandchildren and, inspire my kids to do what you do, that I'm your new best friend.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I have a 4-year-old nephew 7-year-old niece and a 13-year-old nephew. And I mean, I'm still looking for Mrs. Wright to produce my own progeny, but it is. I mean, this is the real deal, and this is real life. This is not a dress rehearsal, and so I'm very committed to it because it's so diabolical what's happening, and like I'm very optimistic. I think that's why I resonated with your talk, is because I believe just through the education of this next generation, let's say it's 15 to 20 years. We got a good shot, right? If we start giving that good information at a young age, they can go out and create their own destiny and lead the future. And so I'm very optimistic about it. But I'll definitely keep you in the loop there. And
no, this is right up. I'm waiting on you now. This Donna's going to put my Anarchapulco speech into the third hour. We're talking about it. People know what I'm talking about. But I don't know who did that video. It was somebody in the audience.
It was me.
Oh, was that you that did that?
Yeah, I was recording, and I asked Jeff Berwick. I said, "Hey, are you going to sell these things? Like, I have a video. It's not good quality, but I got the talks, and so yeah, he was going to sell his DVDs, but whoever did the video wasn't sellable, wasn't DVD quality, and so he's like, yeah, upload it. So I uploaded him. Joby Weeks, I uploaded as well.
We're going to be hanging with Joby at Porkfest at his farm there. He's definitely one of the. He just sent me last week. I got a text photo of him in a hot tub with Richard Branson.
Really? With Richard Branson?
Yeah, Sir Richard Branson, because he was at some Bitcoin thing that he was doing or something on his island of whatever the hell, So Joby, man, he's always partying with somebody around the world doing something.
Right.
And so I'm going, okay, there's that, and then Branson's also doing the same kind of internet space thing too. And the thing with Elon Musk, SpaceX, is getting investment by Google and whatever, so that doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy. But, that's why we were so adamant about – you remember me talking about Spaceship One. Well, the reason I did that is because I knew what it meant. It meant that we were going to be able to launch our own satellites.
Mm-hmm.
And how did I know that? Because Scaled Composites did a program called Pegasus, which was like a cruise missile rocket that was dropped off an F-16 that went into orbit. They were launching. They were doing this back in the 80s, or early 90s. So I'm just going, man, I already know where this goes. Why? Because I was paying attention.
Right.
And what were they doing? I get Space Shuttle, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2010. I mean, seriously. So that was the point I was making. This is why I don't have a flying car. I've never put my grandkids on because they're young, and I just, just don't want to, But the Kaylee, I put on there, and I'm going, she's on for just a little bit. I go, all right, why do you like the Jetsons? Why is that so inspiring? Why do you like the Jetsons? She goes, flying cars. That was the point I was making. That wasn't prompted. Of course it's the flying cars. They're thinking, hey, we got all this stuff. Everything is in there. They got, like everything. I mean, all the Rosie robot kind of, they're seeing this stuff now. Right, and I'm going, yeah, well, where's the flying car?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, feel me? So this is the inspiration, and that's why the Jetsons, they could get on Amazon $27 for 20-something episodes. I'm like, you assholes. But, Grandpa paid for it. Why? Because of the inspiration that it has on them. So instead they're in there watching Teletubby, God knows whatever crap that's on there, they're getting a lot more changing everything out of the Jetsons. Now, your nephews and nieces, you said you have 1, 4, and 1, 7, right?
Yep, 4, 7, 13, correct.
Okay, the 7-year-old. Maybe the 4, but I think, are they near you? Can you see them or hang out with them?
You know what? They're actually in Seattle. I visit them probably about 2, 3, 4 times a year. I'm going to be visiting them actually tomorrow. I'm flying to go see my 13-year-old nephew graduate 8th grade. So I'll go seeing him. But, yeah, I mean, the 7-year-old, after a year or two, chatting with my brother, they just pulled her out and started homeschooling her, the 7-year-old. And I said, man, thank God she's got a chance now. My Lord.
Take her to see Tomorrowland.
Okay, I will. Maybe we'll do that this weekend.
You'll go see it, and you'll go, Yeah, you'll start seeing it through her eyes. And there's a scene in there in the beginning that the kid, George Clooney, is as a kid in 1964-5 World Fair, and he goes to the invention thing, and he's got 2 Electrolux, horizontal vacuum cleaners made into a jetpack, okay? And he goes up to the head character, like the bad guy, is the guy that played House. I can't remember his name, the doctor. So he goes up to him, and he goes, yeah, okay, so what's it do? Well, you can fly. And he goes, well, what's it for? What good is this? How does it save humanity? And he goes, I don't know, but this 10-year-old kid saying this, he goes, I don't know, but if I looked up and I saw a kid flying around the jetpack, I would be inspired. And I go, yes, you would, because I remember the 68 L.A. Olympics, and they had that Buck Rogers, James Bond jetpack went around the stadium and landed, and I was like 7 years old when that happened. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I didn't include that one in the presentation that I did. But this is the kind of, you see this, and it's the impact that 7-year-old it's going to have on, is it a boy or girl?
A girl.
Well, that's good, because the main character in that, there are 2 girls. They did this intentionally. They checked off all the boxes, and the criticism is of the entire system, what you're talking about. And I am shocked to crap that this came out of Disney.
I know, right? That's what I was hearing really good things from it, but it's like Disney's part of the system. So,
well, you wonder. I'm doing something from your perspective, and certainly mine. I'm doing some research. I'm gonna, this is one of the little projects. I want somebody that's associated with this film and the marketing of the film and the studio of the film, and I want to get into where what the hell happened. When I look at these stories, not a single thing do they talk about. All the criticism of it is not a single thing about the content or what it does. It's how much money it was spent and and this and the money and the kind of distribution of the money. And I'm going, yeah, well, how's the film? Wow. It's a campaign.
Yeah, exactly. I think you got it. I think they're trying to preempt its viral spread, because if it's too inspiring, it is. It reveals the inner power that is in each of us, and it's the imagination. So if they're doing that, definitely. Nothing happens without a cause.
No, it's all about positive optimism. Negative waves brings about that you would be amazed. You watch this. You ever see The Incredibles?
I did, yeah.
Animation. In there, there's a bunch of the. I crap you not, man. I'm sitting there, and there was watching a movie last night. And keep in mind, my granddaughter will be 6 this August. Now, they said, well, you're special. They say, well, you're special. You're different. That's the point they were making. There are special people that need, take your, don't be, hide your light behind the, the bush kind of thing. You're special. Go do that. You can be special. It's okay,
Right.
And so they're recruiting the dreamers. It's all about the dreamers. They're going to do dreamers, this Tomorrowland Walt Disney Dreamer thing. And I'm going, right on. Well, they in Incredibles, the mother one time he goes, well, everybody's special, Dash, and he goes, that's another way of saying nobody is. So Kaylee, as I'm sitting there, she goes to me, oh, Papa, everybody's special, and I lean down to her, whispering, I go, that's just another way of saying nobody is. How impactful are these moments in a kid's life? So we sit here and we go over, we're learning coding. We're learning how to do this 1, 2, 3D catch thing. We're, going 3D print. We're, I got a ghost gunner sitting over there. I'm sitting there, milling out stuff. So what's the government doing now? You're not allowed to even talk about firearms. It's a violation of law, Obama, whatever.
Oh my gosh. No, I think, like you said, coding is the future, engineer. This is, you can able to create your own systems in your own living room with the printers. This is revolutionary stuff, man. I was at an investment conference, and they said 3D printing is more revolutionary than the internet. This is what they said 5 years ago.
Desktop publishing, of any manufacturing of whatever the hell I want to get, because I'm a 12-year-old and I imagined it.
Right.
Can you imagine me at 12 years old with 3D printing and computers that we got now? Man, they'd be toast. But now it's not. They're not having to worry about that as much, because they beat it out of an entire generation, the imagination.
Right. So true. That's why a lot of these guys who are creative are the homeschoolers who were out of the box. And yeah, that's like, the founder of the Human Genome Project was a homeschooler living on a sheep farm. And I mean, it's the unschooling, the people who are self-directed learners. I mean, this is the revolution. Those people who direct themselves, they create their life, and those people go against, centralized control. They are more individual rather than collective. And I mean, that's why it's like, man, we want hundreds of thousands and millions of these people. I mean, we far outnumber these guys. It's the psychological warfare that they're waging on us, really.
Yeah, if circumstances, you try to make the effort. If you're able to work it out, and you can take your 7-year-old niece to see that movie, I would do an hour show just on the response that she had and you had on that movie for that experience.
All right.
Just that, because it's very interesting. This is just representative of a much larger thing, and that's why The Incredibles was such a libertarian-oriented kind of movie, is because it challenged all this "you're not allowed to be special" thing. That was the whole point of it. Even the main character, the dad, goes in there. What's his name? Mr. Incredible. He goes. They're going to go celebrate his graduation from the 5th to the 6th grade or whatever the hell. He goes, "Are you kidding? They're celebrating mediocrity. I mean, it's just another ceremony. It's all crap,
Right.
So I'm just going, there's a pushback. There's a pushback in popular culture. There's a pushback by an entire generation of people that get it. But anytime they bring it up, they are beaten down. You're not alloudism, and it's just you're outside the box. You're talking about something, and what it does is it, just like with the Ron Paul campaign, what it did is it created a big giant chunk of a very influential, very self-motivated, very A-type, leave me alonist, and I don't care what you think. They have high self-esteem, they got good motivation, they're self-confident, and they are just creating their own solution, being the change. And I'm going, that has to be beaten out with mushroom clouds and fear and war and stuff, because that's the only thing that's going to even distract from the attention of now, in 2003, when I first started doing radio, there was a survey that had teenagers for the first time were spending more time in front of their computers than on television. And I go, it's over. It's done. That's it. Done. Next.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I was gonna say I am going to see them this weekend. So yeah, if we go see it, man, I'll let you know, and maybe shoot Dawn an email or something, and let you know about it, because I get so excited when I talk with parents who are fed up, and I'll do that when I'm out talking with people. You got to be tactful, right? Because you don't know if someone's a teacher, or you don't want to offend people, right? And that's why I let people know. My mother was a teacher, right? This is not about offending people. It's about the child and their mind and their free will. And if we can focus on them, then, that's what it's all about. So
it's about the collective, and we need to get the child in line and stand there and queue up and vote right or something.
Oh, my God. It's so much political correctness, right? So it's a matter of being tactful. But when I meet parents, and here's the question. I used to, set them up, say, how the system's so bad, right? I say now, hey, question, ma'am. What do you think about the current educational system? Right? I ask them a question, then I shut up, and I see where they're at. And then hopefully I can guide them and lead them to see, you realize something's going on. And I think most people do, right? They're sitting at a desk studying stuff they're not interested in. I mean, at some point you're just like, this is total BS, man. Like, what are we doing? But when you have someone come out and there's a movement occurring talking about it, right? The fact that we're discussing it, this now makes it okay, And so, the political correctness of nobody's a failure, and everybody gets awards, and you're 15th place and you get a plaque. It's like, man, this is not the real world. We want to show them trial and error, and it's okay, but some people excel. Some people, are good in this area and bad in that area.
Well, the only time you have this kind of measurement is sports. That's why that's so emphasized. Being smart is not your nerd. And I'm going, especially my generation, it was always about, I'm doing the sport thing. That's how I'm going to get laid. My motivation as a teenager is kind of, hey, babe, check out these pecs. And nobody cared about how smart you were, at least not from my perspective. And that would change if you get out of this whatever the hell it is that they're doing, and it's changing because they're doing it themselves. It's a robot making Mythbuster out there doing Ain't It Cool with an actuator and a Raspberry Pi if I made it go whir, And we do a lot of different I have in my barn here, we really working on for about a year. I still have it out there, but a lot of this stuff has already happened, which is kind of my point, was we were growing carbon nanotubes in heat chambers that tube furnaces. We have a tube furnace in there, and I put, argon or helium as the inert gas field and heat up acetylene gas in there. You get about 800 degrees Celsius, and it breaks the hydrogen-carbon bond. You have a ceramic kiln post I put in there that's got a seeding, catalyst on there of cobalt, iron, and nickel, and it starts the growth of depositing of carbon atoms and make kind of this black velvet fuzz that then I put nickel on. I plate to it to make batteries. Very large surface area nickel iron battery. Boom, there we go. And what do? The biggest thing I got out of that, other than just demonstrating it, was the homeschool kids. A lot of friends are bringing in. I'll put on my white coat with my David Bowie Doc Brown wig, and what shall we learn today? How inspiring is that to these kids? That was the reason why I did it. They're going, Ernie, you're not going into production to make it. I'm going, man, you guys don't get it. You know how much influence I can have on young kids being inspired. A little, video of Dave kind of ain't that cool. As we're out here now, the double axle boat trailer starting to build a solar generation system where the panels just accordion out the big giant run of house that's mobile. I put it behind the car and I go to my cabin. The bug out of Kiss My Ass. I'm just this is the kind of stuff. We have the aquaponics. We got chickens. We did the goat thing. I'm going, look, you guys don't get it. This is about extracting yourself from the system that they, them, those that won't leave you alone has created, and most of that chaining has been for your mind and your kids. Stop. So when you go, you see this, hopefully you'll be able to carve out some time to do that. And I'm especially interested in the 7-year-old. 4-year-old might not be, the 5-year-old, she was just long enough. She's just now starting to put stuff in context that she can be entertained and her eyes be glued on the screen. But that's just now starting to happen. Now they can do, a 20-minute cartoon or something. But, this is just now getting to that point. Then you go to the 13-year-old. That might be interesting if you do both to see is it too late? Yeah, they started to go through puberty. They're starting to lock in. And that's why they have the junior high thing. You may hear me talking about that. Remember, I was going, the junior high thing, they want to, get you indoctrinated into, you're challenging authority and it's dad and dare program, turn them in, and we love baby seals. I mean, so I'm just going, it's that junior high mind. So 13-year-old, I'm sure they might be inspired, but I'm wondering if it's too late or how, whatever. But the 7-year-old, I remember being 7. And I remember, I'm like, man, you can't get me my flying car fast enough.
No, exactly. Their imagination is still there. They got until, maybe 9, 10, 11 until it's drilled out of them. So, the fire is still alive. And it is, man. They're ready to go. My 13-year-old nephew, he's a sharp dude. But, because my brother's not as like a freedom guy, really. He's an entrepreneur. He owns a CrossFit and, he's, taking care of business. But he's not like, a promoter of the philosophy of liberty and self-ownership. So in that way, it's a little late. But if they can learn that at a young age, that, it's my life and my body and, it's my mind. It's hard to reprogram it if they can get that at a young age.
Right, inoculation. This is my point. I go, is there some age or something or some awareness or something that you can do at some age to a kid that it doesn't matter what the state, the TV, MTV, of Rock the Vote or whatever the hell does? Can they be insulated? Can they be inoculated against this stuff? Can it be critical thinking, self-aware, self-sustaining, self-confidence, of self-esteem of self? Can you do that? When do you do that? Well, I guarantee it's before they start going through puberty, because once they do that, they get locked in. The brain chemicals kind of lock them, and that's why they have junior high. And it has more mandated programs, more you gottas, more of the, I'm just a bill of social and economic engineering of studies of whatever the hell, And I'm going, no, it's before. It's at 7.
Yep.
And you're going to find this out. I guarantee it, David. You do this, and I want to hear the story. If you have the same experience I did, from someone with your perspective that can explain, any question that they have, and just sit back and watch them be inspired. I am just going, I feel that there's a campaign against this movie because whoever's doing it, they didn't understand, or they did understand, because it's very critical of the system. And I think people that all of a sudden the movie escaped and it went out, and people that saw it went, oh, hell no.
Right, the higher-ups saw it after the fact that it was released. They're like, let's start putting some media out there. It's doing bad, forget it, and then let's lose all of our money. We don't want to shake up the system too much.
No, this is one of those movies that, it's going to be every family has it there as a DVD rented crystal form of all movie. It gets towards the top of my kids' see thing. I mean, there's another one called Astronaut Farmer. Have you ever seen that?
No, haven't seen that one. Astronaut
Farmer. Bob Thornton plays the lead in that. Bruce Willis is in it and everything. And that was another, it was just awesome. But, they kind of, we don't want, it's about a NASA guy that, builds a rocket on his farm kind of thing. All the one-liners in there. Astronaut Farmer, I highly recommend that. Okay. Kevin Costner, Robert Duvall, Open Range. Get Open Range. I mean, these are libertarian-oriented, making fun of the system movies that they can't allow to be promoted. It's kind of, how we get this back. And that's fine, because now it doesn't matter what they say. It's what people are doing. You ever seen Iron Sky?
No, I haven't.
All right, mark this down, too. Iron Sky was, easily Hollywood would have done this, had been $100 million. They did it for $15 million crowdsourced funding out of Europe. Now they're on their second one. And it was just, let's put it, the bottom line is, Nazis on the dark side of the moon coming back to kick ass with their spaceship zeppelins and pulling meteors kind of crap, okay? Okay. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, all right?
Right.
So the lead character, president, is Sarah Palin. So I watched this and I go, everybody was on my ass. Ernie, you gotta watch it. And I'm like, all right. So they brought it over on a USB and they put it up and I'm going, oh my God, this was awesome. And when you look at the history of how they did, they're bypassing Hollywood.
Yes. Right.
And you're in and that's one thing when you say you're in San Jose there. What was one of the stats that we saw? The lowest vaccination rate is in Silicon Valley.
That's right. And then exactly, these executives might have some, agenda to promote their staff or follow the line, whatever here. But they're like, hey, honey, nope, my kids are not getting vaccinated. Like, dude, why would you do that? If you get the facts and you're just a logical person, I mean.
Yeah, because they're engineers, they get it. They check the number, that'd be bad. And then, you can't go to the school. You're fine. I've just started my own school. We have our own. Suck it.
Exactly. Oh, I'm sure the state is just so upset to hear about Elon Musk's school. I mean, he's probably not going to want to scale it up. I mean, he might, but it's like, he's 5 boys. Could you believe that? My God,
I have 4 children. They're very close in age. Right now they're 25 to 29. Okay, so 2 boys, 2 girls, and I could see as they were going up, what experiences one had, how it passed down, and who. I'm going, no, you could see the. I tell this one story. They started going. We did this charter school, 1-2 years, and I remember them having. It was an internet project. Keep in mind, this is mid '90s, okay, or late '90s, and they go. Here is this, what they call it, skylight, whatever. It's a glossy, 8-page little pamphlet of, additional curriculum that they just give here's stuff for them to do, project, right, workbook deal. So they go in, they do this, and they get in there, and it says, well, go on the internet, looking for golden bears or hairy bears or something about bears. And they go, oh, but don't go to this site, don't search this one, right? So, of course, what happens? They go search that. What it was older, hairy, gay stuff.
Right.
And I'm going, what the hell did you think was going to happen? You told them not to go there. I go, this was intentional. And then not that I'm like, censorship, but I mean, freaking, 12-year-olds you're sitting there sending to, the gay community. Oh, don't go here. What the hell did you think was going to happen?
Right.
I'm done. I'm done. I take responsibility for your own damn children and go see educationoptionsnow.org.
Right, it is. And I mean, I was going to talk about Gatto's newest article talking about, this is from 1996, right? It was kind of a rehash of the article, but it was a public school. I think 50 sixth grade girls were subjected to a vaginal inspection for warts or for like STDs, and some of these kids' parents weren't even notified. I'm like, oh my gosh! Like, if you learn about this stuff, you can't even believe it. And so it's like put the parents in control, and it's like, okay, you gotta be the ones responsible for get this institution because they're doing some insane things that you have no idea.
There's so many examples of and unfortunately your generation has been exposed to, and a lot of it started. There used to be a book that kind of required reading, and it was early '90s. It was called "It Usually Begins with Ayn Rand." And it was just kind of a history, where this movement kind of usually begins with Ayn Rand. Well, now there can be a book that usually began with Ron Paul. I mean, it's just, just an exposure to this thought process, this pooling of opinion on various different sites and, Facebook. Well, I don't. Facebook and me, whatever. We got all the stuff. I don't care. I'm not feeding into whatever. And the MaidSafe thing, you take a look at that, you'll understand where this is going.
Okay.
And and then you look at Elon Musk's internet. There's another project that's already done. It turned on last August called OuterNet. Just look up OuterNet. And you see the videos on there. They've already taken these CubeSats and they're already doing transactions of Bitcoin of information in the deepest Congo. If I got a smart device and an education to bite it,
right?
Khan Academy stuff. I mean, this is already happening because, and what Gatto was saying, all these guys doing this, they dropped out. They knew this was being beat out of them. It was intentional.
Right. That's exactly right. And you said also on their podcast earlier that it was like, the technology's there. The revolution has already happened. I mean, the internet mindset. I mean, social media is not going anywhere. I mean, there's some major paradigm shifts which have occurred that, I mean, even myself, I still haven't realized all the ramifications, but I think it's positive. And I think, more leaders are going to step up and use the technology to do the outer net or these things. I mean, is the OuterNet, is that by Elon Musk or is that by a different group?
No, it's a different group. Go ahead. Okay. Here, we'll do it right now because I want to make sure you see there's a lot of different videos, and there's just one that kind of skips to the end. Okay, let's see. I'm going to type in YouTube OuterNet.
Beginning of a new chapter. The beginning of the second half.
Wow.
It's the beginning of a fresh season. OuterNet is not the internet. Fastest and most economical way to offer access to information. With help from users around the world, OuterNet uploads any type of digital content and broadcasts it over satellite for free. The dish receives the broadcast content and stores it on its hard drive. Anyone with a Wi-Fi radio can connect to the dish's hotspot and view the content through a browser. Now, the middle of nowhere is still at the center of everything. Offline users, people without access to broadband internet, can request specific types of content with SMS, messaging apps, and the OuterNet Facebook page. OuterNet will broadcast it all, anonymously requested, democratically chosen, and viewed without censorship. This is OuterNet. Let's get started.
Whoa.
Oh, no, that's now go. You'll see.
You own one?
Okay. Now, you'll see the next video under the right up there, you'll see this, vertical box that says lantern.
Okay.
Okay, click on the lantern one. Well, if there's a one, two. The point is that they've taken this now, and it's only about a 2-inch cube by 6-7 inches high, and that whole thing goes in there. It keeps you updated to everything forever and always with you anywhere in the world. Done.
So when is this released? This is a 2014.
No, that turned on my anniversary, August 11th, 2014. It's on. It's
on. Do you have one? How is this? Is this working?
Yeah, no, they're doing it now. Waiting on you.
Oh my gosh! And what you pay a one-time fee for the equipment?
I have no
or you
idea. When they turned it on, it's on. I'm like, peace, go to the next one. Lantern is an upgraded version of that. I mean, they're already on to the next one. Because
great,
they use
man.
these, you know what a cube. Well, remember me talking about CubeSats?
Yeah, you showed some of it. Yeah, you showed.
Yeah,
it like,
no, I
what,
talked
8
about
inch?
Outernet.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about.
Holy cow!
That's what they did with it. No, it's not. They're going to. They already did.
Right? And who started that? Who's founded
I don't know.
that?
They, some kid. Whatever I can. It was a Kickstarter thing.
Oh, cool.
So it was funded by, so SpaceX, throws up a bunch of the CubeSats and, like 30 at a time, kind of a, throwaway, we're going to the space station, might as well launch this while we got time thing, done. I want, this is, okay, it's going to have such an impact on what you're doing. I'll take the time, go ahead and pull up the MaidSafe thing. I want you to watch that. I want to get your impression after you see this. And it's about, now 6-7 minutes or something, but go ahead and just do it while I've got some other stuff I need to do here. While you watch that, I want to talk to you about it now. Go ahead and do that.
Yeah, MaidSafe? Okay, hold on, I'll pull it up.
Our internet consists of servers and connected computers in which the files are only stored in one place as complete files readable by anyone. If the walls of system security are penetrated, the data is ripe for them, even if the data has been encrypted. If it is all in one computer, a single provider, or a local network, it can still be stolen or erased. Today's data is not physically secured from any third parties. There is always somebody who can delete, corrupt, or snoop on you, until now. In the MaidSafe system, data is never vulnerable. As soon as a document is saved, remarkable things happen. The data is automatically shredded and encrypted by a unique algorithm that uses the data itself to create the encryption keys required for the very high levels of encryption. This data is then distributed intelligently to the network. This network spans the planet. All of this thoroughly encrypted code now resides in several time zones, securely stored in multiple copies in locked space on other networked computers, using a portion of whatever unused hard drive space is available, as if the data was transformed into a grain of sand and distributed wherever the wind takes it, far away from prying eyes. And your secure login has been achieved by a phenomenal new system called Anonymous, or self-authentication. This is a system where you decide to join a network, and the choice is 100% yours. You give up some unused space on your computer, and that is your payment. Nothing else is required. The deal is between you as a person and the network. You are in complete control of your own destiny and required to ask nobody for any permission. Only now can you be secure. No third party was involved. Just you, the machine, and the software. And at no time was your password transmitted on the network in any form whatsoever. To the world, you are completely anonymous, safe, and free. Now, your digital work and data reside not on vulnerable hard drives that could fail, be offline, corrupted, stolen, or spied upon, but on a huge distributed anonymous network with state-of-the-art protection of both data and privacy. You will never lose your data again. There is no backup or sync required. Everything just works and is available only when you want it. So, what do we do with all that free space now that we have computers all over the world with more space than they need? Some of this space is used to store the network links. This mishmash of electronic bits is stored everywhere on every hard drive. Your computer fuels the network that you are now part of. Rather than slowing down with more data, as traditional client-server models do, this network increases in speed and performance as more people use it. In this network, denial of service and similar cyber attacks are thwarted and useless. Popular websites simply go faster rather than crashing. There is a reason this is called logical. After 7 years of testing, innovating, and lots of effort, they have released all code, papers, patents, and algorithms to the world. MaidSafe has met universities and attended many events to explain their proposals and answer questions, as well as publishing papers and trialing much of the code in one of the world's largest organizations, all with very positive results. All of MadeSafe's patents have been made available worldwide to allow developers to use a truly global platform to create next-generation software products such as data that increases in speed as more people use it due to intelligent caching, which makes popular data faster and also prevents many cyber attacks and cyber terrorism. People will share privately, freely, and instantly. Doctors will save more lives by sharing medical research in real time. And groups of common interest can get together and share experiences and information instantly and safely. With real sharing, we will defeat many global issues by simply combining our efforts and publishing our feelings and thoughts instantly and securely. Whistleblowers and victims of oppression will share their findings safely and free from persecution. Secure messaging in the form of email, video, and voice are inherent in the network design. Nobody can trace or eavesdrop on any of your communications anymore. What you say now is private. Anyone can use the code and patents to build these powerful new products and services at no cost and without fear of the service ever being compromised or stopped. This is a network of equals, and ownership belongs to all users all of the time. All developers have free access to an open API and can start creating and deploying amazing ideas and innovations that could change the world right now. Now, what are you prepared to do?
Well, you there, Ernie?
Yeah. So you feel me?
Hey, man. That looks great. Now, how are they monetizing it? It looks like it's a trade, it's a barter, right? I give you some portion of my hard drive, and then now we can all share. But, the 7 years of research, my gosh, this is a big operation.
Okay, let me tell you how this is done. What they have done is when cryptocurrencies, they have safe coins. So the cost of this, the more memory storage that you have of your hard drive and the more bandwidth that you do to the system, the more you get paid in cryptocurrency. So by participating, you're paying for your own use. So what happens? When they did the Bitcoin nodes, all of a sudden now, a few years later, what happened? All of a sudden, the Bitcoin network has more computing computational power than all of Google's servers combined by 40 times. It is amazing. Why? Because there was incentivization. Get by mining, you get all of a sudden, boom, it's more processing of, we have a whole town of China or whatever doing Bitcoin processing, or in Iceland or whatever the hell is going on. So I'm going, okay, so what they did is they incentivized. When you get on this, there are a guy that's called the Infinity Algorithm that I met in Texas Bitcoin conferences last year. And they have created a Linux-ready plug-and-play, has a power cord, Ethernet, put it on, boom, you're the node. So what do we do? In the back end, we're having our guys, IT guys, what are they doing? They're having the entire site of Freedom's Phoenix able to interface with this. We have 400 gigs of whatever, and it just uploads on our own server. We supply our own, and then it starts seeding out over this network. Now, the big reason that I'm hammering on this is because YouTube shut down Luke Radowski's We Are Change revenue stream of all his 200,000 subscribers. No, we don't like it. Right. Mox News, 65,000 videos, turned them off. We have Google AdWords, what they're doing with antiwar.com. We were in the middle of that promoting, the meme, anti-Google, you suck kind of stuff. So they're going, nope, you don't get to make revenue. Why? Because they're de-incentivizing any dissent.
Right.
So what do you need? This. I've been screaming about this for years. So I'm going, when I was going about this, like 2 years ago, it was a year ago, March, and I was at the Texas Bitcoin Conference of 14, and I'm going, look, why aren't we using this to, yada, 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 to the hacker thing that was going on there, their hackathon. And one of the guys comes up, it was Rafael Rodriguez. Rafael, he comes up and he says, you need to talk to this guy, Irvine, we met at the Berlin Bitcoin conference. He sounds like you. And I go, really? Okay, I talk to him, and I go, oh, my God, is this what I think it is? I had his white paper go to a bunch of techie geeks, and they're going, man, this is cool as hell. And then all of a sudden, about a month later, we went to the New York Bitcoin Conference, met with them. They retweeted our interview because I got it. You know, I'm going to Levolution. I go, oh, hell yeah, just like you watched I saw what you saw, and you go, oh, you start to get it. So then I'm making a big deal out of it. They got a lot of popularity. You know, people were real supportive of me being supportive. The Levolution guy understands and gets it. It's retweeted 40,000 times. They get Forbes and Bloomberg and get added at the end of the conference. Standing room only, standing ovation. Oh my God! They're going to do the fundraiser April 22nd, a 3-month kind of, and it was about 5 hours, $7 million done.
Wow!
And I go, do you get it now? There is a market. I said, my thing was not so much whether he got funded or not, which I'm glad he did. It was to demonstrate the market for it. So now, is everybody and their grandma wanting to do this? Storage came out of this. You know, Sean Wilkinson's storj.io. Storage is Dropbox, but it uses this kind of technology. So there's no server to go kick in the door of Uber when they're in Paris or whatever, and they kick in the door, you know, give you all your storage you can, and you're not allowed, and you're shut down. Well, what are they doing now? It's called Lazuz. It came out of the Texas Bitcoin Conference. You know, the one before they did this, had a kid that did it in Tel Aviv, had him on, interviewed. This is what they did. If you have Uber, but it has no central server and it only operates in this manner on your smartphone, that is the internet. It's the unused, it's your smartphone, and you use Bitcoin. You can get a ride from anywhere to anywhere, and the man doesn't even know it. There's no bank account to shut down. There's no server to kick in. You're just people getting rides with their Bitcoin button done.
Right.
Then what?
Yep. That's right.
See, this is what I look for, and I can see it happening. And the biggest point, you know, this same kind of technology and the same mindset and the same stuff available for education.
Yep. You know, it all ties in. Yeah, these technologies connected to young minds who are the future. And
hell, they're the ones that did it.
Exactly, right? I mean, it is. No, you're exactly right. That's awesome. This is really exciting stuff. No, I want to, you know, keep to learn about this stuff and start seeing, because I mean, it's coming, man. These guys are going to be dropping the hammer. I mean, I'm in a metropolitan area. Are you in Phoenix? Are you in Phoenix? So, yeah, that's metro. So, I mean, you have a farm out there, but I'm still pretty much, you know, in the heart of it. So, if there's something going on, I mean, the people are going to go crazy whether it's the dollar or all these things happening. So, I do want to, you know, get this, you know, off the grid essentially. And,
well, in every way. You know, I mean, ones and zeros of bite me Tomorrowland. I mean, that's their biggest fear. It's like V for Vendetta. They're running out. We want everybody to know why they need us. And when you go, yeah, we don't need you, and they're going, oh yeah, you do. No, you don't. Well, this gun says you do. You know.
It is, man. I mean, these guys are losing power quick, and I think that's what is so exciting. And so, I mean, they're going to start freaking out and start, you know, trying to figure out some way. I mean, did you hear Bill Gates' statement? This was, a month or so ago. He's like, the probability of a nuclear attack in my lifetime is less than 1%, but the probability of a killer flu or a killer bug is over 50%. And I said, God.
And we're making sure.
Oh, my God. So I think that's probably what their next move is going to be, because this is all chess. You know, you've been seeing this. I mean, this is definitely like a warfare, mental warfare. And I don't know, man, what's your take on like a large, let's say, biological false flag? I don't know, West Coast or maybe East Coast somewhere. It's like they need the people in fear again. You know, with 9/11, everybody just falls in right to a line.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Before, the problem was, and what we always understood, it's why we had our own AB Dick 316 printing press. It's why we did our own newspaper. We just resurrected the physical newspaper again, and we're starting to have fun with that. Have you do this? Go to freedomsphoenix.com. I want to show you something. You'll see the reason to my madness.
Okay.
Tell me when you're there. At the top. Left of underneath the bird, you'll see it says Freedom's Phoenix newspaper and the girl cutting the barbed wire.
All right, Freedom's Phoenix newspaper. Okay, homepage, global edition, front page. Am I in the right place?
Yeah, just go right below. You know, you have the current spot price for metals, and right below that it says Freedom's Phoenix newspaper.
Oh, okay, click that. Okay.
Okay, so click that, and then you can see there are 3 downloads, high and low res, PDF. But the one on the right, it says newspaper template. Well, it's a zip file in InDesign. We did the entire newspaper to get over the hurdle for everybody. I go, here's the template. You just take out this article, add this article, put in this local article of local display, pay for it, change the cover, whatever, you're done. Go get it printed. Peace out. Okay?
Sure.
So get the high-res computer version. It's just a PDF. Download.
Okay.
This is the newspaper. Now, what we did, the thing that's cool in the first article, and you'll see the different articles there. You just kind of scroll through it. But what I did is every ad, every article, every hyperlink is a QR code. So when you're at Denny's sitting there reading this thing, it's live, interactive with the internet, watching videos, going to ads or whatever right then, and you can forward that article to friends using your smartphone.
Yeah.
You feel me?
This. That's right. This is great, yeah.
And then when you read this straight through from the front to the back, it's a tone. It's like watching Tomorrowland. And the one article that I really we had Richard Grove in there, a lot of tragedy and hope stuff in there.
Yep.
But the Authoritarian Sociopathy by Davi Barker. You read that and you'll go, holy shit.
Right.
I'm telling you, man. This is and then from. I'm Sorry by Paul Rosenberg. And what he's saying is going, I'm sorry to Generation X. We tricked you. We bullshitted you. We spent all this money. We indebted you. You owe us forever and always. No, by the way, you went and got a student loan, and we suckered you into that too. Sorry. So it's just these stories were selected, for a reason. And the way we did the template and the way we set this up, it was to demonstrate that for the first time that I know of, that you have an interactive with the internet physical print newspaper.
It's the first one I've seen, yeah.
This is one of the next. These are the tools that I use. So so what are we focusing on? Everybody wants, Ernie, you're successful. In the planetary of the database of the no. You got to be an inspiration. You got to do it locally. You got to be successful. So here in Arizona, Navajo County is about 170,000 people in northeastern Arizona, and resort. We go up there to not be hot when it's 115 here. It's 75 up there in the mountain kind of thing. So, but it's a lot of retired government, military intelligence, police. They go up there. Yeah, we want to be out of the, whatever. So we go up there. We have our Jackalope Freedom Festival, and we camp up there first weekend in August, and it's just, like a thing. Well, they have the Constitutional County projects kind of, mirrored after New Hampshire thing. That we put in there, and we had a Freedom Fest up. That's what this paper was done to promote. But what I'm going, look, it's defending Archimedes thing. It's we're going to change the culture and the junior high, what you're doing in this geographical location where we have already elected Lovolutionaries to local offices there. A lot of the Lovolutionaries are buying land up there. They're getting kind of a base. They're going up there and change the culture. Then the manifestation of that change, it will be, politics and electing, I don't care, okay? I will help you guys because I've done this before. We had newspaper, last one we printed for like 12 years up to 2004, then we went internet. Well, now we're going retro because I figured out a way of getting the physical newspaper to interface with the site and with the internet, so that's why we went back to this. Hello?
Right.
So what do I want to emphasize? The children.
Yeah. Oh, this is great stuff here. It makes it easy for people to get the website. You just take the QR code and just go right there. Now, are you going to do this quarterly or?
Whenever I feel like it, about quarterly probably. I do. I'm not. We were doing a magazine every month. I mean, it was just the magazine. We're kicking ass, but it was it was kind of didn't have the reach, that I think a physical, and you couldn't target an area. See, the thing was, I go into that, all this control, we're going to do, Facebook, and we're going to this and that and everything, right up until they say, no, you're not. I mean, so I'm just going, I'm not trusting that. I'm not putting that. I just know better. So a lot of the people that were really counting on Google and these guys to help, they're not. We dislike your Second Amendment thing, dislike. So I just screw them. You know, why are you doing this? You know, focus it in your own area. Well, it gets to rural America, kind of this Ron Paul thing, to where you have a lot more support from people that are, out of the cities or more rural. They went there for a reason. Well, the local newspaper there is dominated by the influence of the advertisers, which are the real estate guys that benefit from some government you're not allowed agenda, who gives a crap, and the local car dealership and the machine behind the city council and the mayor of we rule you and the sheriff come kick in your door, So this is, and what supports all that? The local newspaper. And the only thing that's left for the local newspaper revenue usually is the mandatory announcements of the classified section of government, whatever the hell, So, and these other advertisers, so there's no this kind of opinion. Well, we were successful in the 90s and early 2000s doing this. I mean, we would it just pissed them off all the hell. We'd do local stories about this is what's really going on. What kind of impact did that have? It's an infection. So I'm going, look, we're doing it. We're going to show on this particular county. And then here's the template for you to do it in your community because it's all done. All you got to do is change the story, put it in an ad, make some money, change the cover, the band, whatever. It's done. Next. This is what I do. But I need projects either I got to do, which I'd rather one less thing I got to do, or the ones that I think are in line with having a long-term impact. That's why Brett and Richard and I were talking, School Sucks project. Right. This is right in line with like what you're doing. So I'm going, this is the kind of the coalition of whatever and what I offer you. You look at the ads and the articles and the people involved in this and the promotion of that, that was to promote what I wanted promoted, which would be the kind of stuff that you're doing or your project. Definitely. You see my point?
Yep, absolutely. Oh, now this is revolutionary, Ernie. I'll tell you that, man. This is good stuff. So, all
right. Well, this is stuff to get you thinking. So the only homework you got is take a 7-year-old to see Tomorrowland and let me know, and we'll talk about it, and you'll see my point. This is the kind of stuff that I can. And when I go to my granddaughter, here's the one other thing that'll freak you out. It's only a minute. I'll have you watch this, and I'll let you go. Go to YouTube and just do Apollo Arduino. Yeah, Carbon Origins Apollo. Apollo, the everything board. If you went Carbon Origins Apollo, it'll come up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes, 2:52. I want you to watch this, and I'll let you go, and you'll see. This is why I wanted to do enough coding and understanding the different hardware components and everything at a young age so that my grandchildren can make use of this device. Now, the reason they call it Apollo is because it has 11 different sensors, pressure sensors, ultraviolet, infrared, visible light, magnetometers, GPS, accelerometers, gyroscopes. I mean, temperature. Do you have this come up yet?
Yeah, I did. I see Apollo, the everything board by Hackaday.
Now, let me tell you one thing. I go to the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas every year for like the past 6 years. And I go, blah, blah, Panasonic's got a new whiz-bang. I don't give a shit. I go down in the basement of the Venetian and see the little booths that you have some college students that come up with a 12-sensor control board that they're selling for $400 in competition with satellite boards that go for $300,000. And I'm going, are you freaking kidding me? Go ahead and watch this right now. Click the button, and then we'll talk.
All right.
Hey, this is Apollo. Apollo is the ultimate sensor board. It's Arduino compatible. It uses the same processor as the Arduino Due, the Sam Cortex M3, 32-bit, 84 megahertz. It has 11 sensors on it. That's why we call it Apollo. I hope you got that. It has a microphone, it has a pressure and temperature sensor, it has a humidity sensor, it has an ultraviolet, infrared, and visible light intensity sensor. So that's the whole sweep of environmental sensing. And for motion, we have a U-Blox GPS. That's pretty incredibly accurate. And it has 9-axis shift. It does accelerometer, triple axis gyroscope, and triple axis magnetometer for compass, still compensated. And we run real-time sensor fusion and dead reckoning on the microcontroller, and it's available in the library, so you don't have to do all of that. You don't have to do filtering and all of that. Right out of the box, you're getting clean sensor data We have an SD card holder, so you can plop in your SD card and log data onto your SD card. You can view it later. We're writing desktop app that allows you to visualize this data. There's also Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in. So you can transmit the data over Bluetooth to your phone. We're writing an iPhone app, writing an Android app. You can control, you can switch on, switch off sensors, change frequencies, do all sorts of crazy stuff with the default library. And with Wi-Fi, it's an out-of-the-box Internet of Things device. So you can connect to the Internet, you can access websites, push data to websites. We have thought about everything. It also has built-in power management system, so you can plug it to USB, plug in a lithium battery. It charges the battery, plug it out of USB. It works on lithium battery. It has this beautiful OLED display, 64 by 128, and it has a trackball. So if you have a menu system, you can use a trackball to go through them. It has a speaker for feedback. You can. Everything you want is on there, and the thing also has 2 GPIO ports and breaks out every single pin on the microcontroller. And we're making motherboards on which this flops on, and it essentially breaks out every single pin. So you can do robotics, quadcopters, use it like an Arduino. It's Arduino compatible. It's Arduino at heart. So hope you guys are going to check it out. Go to our website. It's carbonorigins.com. Carbon as in the element carbon. Origins as in the origins of species. Carbonorigins.com. We'll be on Kickstarter soon. Or Indiegogo. We're figuring it out. It'll retail after that. Thank you.
Sheesh. Ernie, man, that's powerful stuff.
No, I got tons of these. I could keep you here for hours. This is the perspective that I have and share, and I sitting here, jumping from toe to toe, going, stop and walk. Can't wait for my grandchildren to get old enough to help teach me how to do this.
Right.
So this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. There is tons of this. It's just overwhelming what's happening, and it has nothing. I know they, them, those that won't leave us alone are freaked the F out. There has to be some kind of a mushroom cloud or Golden Gate Bridge, St. Louis Arch, and Middle America toast to something. We got to have Jade Helm of, made you, feared of. They're going, yeah, really? Yeah, whatever. I wasn't paying attention. I was like, aquaponicing, and I don't care.
Exactly. They're out of their mind, afraid, and so that's exactly it. It's all chess. What is their next move? I don't want to even think about it, man. Golly.
You're assuming I'm playing your game with your rules on your board, with your referees and your sportscasters, and I'm wearing the colored rainbow afro wig in the stands, throwing peanuts, making fun of the whole thing. It's just a different way of looking at it.
Right. And the young people could get this technology. That guy, he's probably 20-something or something. Just the young guy gets it. It's all matter of fact, and it's no big deal, right? This is what they grow up with. I was around when the internet was just coming around, so it was like, this is pretty cool. I'm still pretty impressed by it, but the kids who are growing up now, your, grandkids and my nephews and nieces and future kids, is like, this is all expected. This is all inherent. Oh, yeah, this device, that Carbon or Apollo, I don't know half of the stuff what he just talked about, but my gosh.
I know you will. Okay, I got to tell you this. All right, I'm going to have you. You're San Jose, right?
I'm San Jose, yeah.
Okay, do this right now. Do a search. San Jose hackerspace.
I might have attended there, but yeah, let's take a look.
No, it's any city. They're going, where do you get? I had to learn the term. In San Francisco, there was a guy that was teaching kids how to solder. And I'm going, really, is it that bad? You got to, absolutely, man. You got to teach them how to. And I know what he's talking about. We were doing our dome and have the guys helping the activists. They're in their 20s, and you say, give me a screwdriver, a flathead or a Phillips screw. And they're like, a what? I'm going, seriously, it's that bad? So I'm going, yep, you got to go start from the beginning. Well, he was teaching them how to solder. Now, this is his claim to fame. What he did is he created a device called TV Be Gone. And it was like a remote control bobble that goes on your car keys kind of thing. And wherever he would go, he was so sick of all the TVs, he pushed a button and all the TVs would go off. Okay?
Wow.
So then another guy made one. It was kind of a pendant, and you're kind of violating property rights. But, as you're walking through the mall, it just pulse every couple of seconds. And wherever he'd walk, all the TVs would go off. so there was so that was his claim to fame. It's called TV Be Gone. So he made some money. Well, then he goes and he's teaching these people, and I'm going, God, where do you get all this? How do I go and find? He goes, I go, what's the word? What's the search term? Hackerspace. If you know that term, you just put the city. I was giving a presentation in Albuquerque at a thing, and it was a Tesla kind of alternative, whatever the hell it was, and we were covering that. And I'm there, and this guy, his daughter lived in Santa Fe, and he had her drive down, or he went and got her. I think she was like 14, 15. Went and got her and brought her back just to meet me. And the reason is because she just needed to be inspired. So it was this kind of stuff. So I just spent a little bit of time, like a half hour, showing this stuff just to get her going. And I said, what you need, you just need a place to go. Well, where? I don't know. I go, well, what city? Santa Fe, Hackerspace. There's two of them right there. Knock yourself out. You just had to know what the word was.
Right. Yeah, no, there's probably a lot of hackerspaces out here, man. So you're saying these are the places where the innovators and the people who are doing this type of work, like Apollo 11 and stuff that can empower the freedom movement. These are the places where these guys are hanging out. We should go hang out and learn the stuff there.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now since you didn't do it. San Jose Hackerspace. Boom, there it is. Tech Shop. Now, Tech Shop is like a gym. It's like LA Fitness or something, you know. You go and you pay, $30 a month, or if you're a student, you get free or discounts or whatever, and you get like lockers. Let me put it this way. Plasma cutters, laser cutters, drill presses, machining heads, lathe, brakes, 3D printers, software, equipment, space, and tech kind of stuff everywhere. Anything you want. A lot of these programs started at these hackerspaces. See, why are you going to freaking school when I could go to the hackerspace?
Yes. Wow, that's great, man. I see. Okay, it's education related. Well, then if that's the case, I need to go see this, dude. If this is that revolutionary, I need to go see what's going on here, because
it's going to blow you away. If you're doing what you're doing and you don't know about this, you're not covering everything. You're not getting enough, diversity and telling the kids what they need to know.
You're right. And you know what? What's also growing out here is the maker movement.
Well, that's what this is. Exactly.
So this is exactly what I'd like to have at my event and let people know about this, so other people can have their minds blown, just like mine is.
So there's a whole shitload of these guys that come from there.
Yeah, this is great. Okay, well, yeah, keep me in loop about this type of stuff.
Now, once you start going down the Made Safe, they pulls you off of the internet. You go to the Internet CubeSat, Elon Musk outer net suck it, then you're off of the man's grid itself,
right.
I mean, physically. You have the encryption, Bitcoin currency, safe coin, digital currency. Bitcoin's probably going to, whatever, the man's all, whatever. But but digital currencies in general, that gives you an opportunity to get your lemonade stand off of whatever. Mm-hmm. You have the hacker spaces where these kids can actually go and learn and understand in their own age group, and kind of somebody is excited to explain it to them. They kick ass. They take their imagination and build and make, and they have $10,000 equipment of that, and a $4,000 Honeywell Aerospace didn't need him and donated, and the 501c we got tax write-off of. Now you got your lathe laser 3D printing and Mark Ford's carbon fiber nanotube crap. Okay, you have the lantern thing where you can get all your music and everything follows you around forever. You can communicate with anybody. There's another one called, I can go on and on and on. There's tons of this stuff. But if you start with what I just showed you here, how to use these computer boards, and you can make and do anything you want. They're already done. You have a place to do it and people that can help. Then it's like, quadcopter robot kind of, freaking DARPA's robot challenge of Google, Boston Dynamic, kick my ass, rule me, Terminator bullshit. I go, yeah, well, I got my $600, I just, blew you out of the water from my tablet that I was around the building and took you out and kissed my ass. The insurgency here is going to be 12-year-olds beating the shit out of them.
That's so true, man. That's so true. Right, because they get it, and there's more kids. And it's just they are getting out of the system, and they want to build. Why would you want to be in school when you can get outside the classroom and build some cool stuff like this?
I'm just like Silicon Valley doesn't vaccinate their kids, they're going to stop sending them to public school.
Yep, you're right. It's crazy. I was talking to a lady, 2 days ago. private school out here, the one she's sending them to, her kid is 4 years old, about to be 5 years old. She's paying $3,500 a month because of some, and she's a total healthy child, but, so she's concerned about it. I said, man, they're going in the hole paying that much. So education day is so important out here. And I mean, to know about this stuff, oh, God.
Well, this is where Brett Vinot comes in. It's unschooling, school sucks, and tutoring, I got whatever. And if I could have grandpa school, I'd be all over it, man. Now, we're going to have fun. We're all going to learn today. We're going to have, and we do that all the time. My kids, I'll give you an example. We're driving, me and my grandson, he's 4 years old. We're going out to a friend that does aquaponics. And his name's Bob Anderson. He is a supervisor at the Palo Verde nuclear plant, overseeing the exchange of the core. When they redo the refueling, he started out there, back in the 80s out of the Navy, nuclear or whatever on the Enterprise. He goes, gets a job there, and he moves on up, and he's the man. So he's sitting there. He lives 10 miles from the plant, so he doesn't have to commute on 9 acres of desert land he got out there. But it was going to be $30,000 for him to hook up to the electric. So he goes, you know what? Peace out. I'll take care of it myself. So for a dozen years, he has a well, his own septic. He has satellite for internet and television, cell phone, communications. He has his own battery bank, solar, wind, backup diesel, been off the grid for 12 years in a 2,600 square foot home.
Wow.
And I'm going, I don't think I know. I know. So what does he do? He starts doing aquaponics. He pimped that out. If you go to Saddleback Mountain Aquaponics, that's him and his little boys doing their own little YouTube channel thing that's taken off. So they're just showing what they're doing. Well, the thing is that I'm going, this is the kind of inspiration and the stuff that can be that we're doing real time that we can show. So what do we do?
Right,
just share it.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Just share it. I mean, this type of information is very empowering, and that's the verb, I think, which is so timely. And like Ron Paul promoted the Victor Hugo quote, is that an idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army or any government. So these types of ideas where you're owning yourself, getting off the grid, taking the technologies of today and saying, F you to the man, saying, hey, sorry, this is my life. I mean, no, I love what you're doing, Ernie. Seriously, man, you've been doing some great work, and this is awesome what you just shared with me. So
this is just a teeny bit. Now you go into. I'll show you here. We both got to do stuff, I'm sure, but
right.
Okay, go ahead and go to Freedom's Phoenix. I want to show you how to use the site, and you can see where a lot of this stuff is.
Okay, Freedom's Phoenix. All right.
All right, on the front page, right underneath the bird, on the horizontal navigation bar, it says More News and Archives.
Got it.
On the Archives, when that drops down, go to the second one. It says Contents by Subject. Click on that.
Okay.
Now, let's see. I would go to, you can do energy and communications and on and on and on and on. But let's go ahead and go to S. Click on the S to go into the S. We have like hundreds of categories. I mean, it's just amazing. When you get there, scroll down to Science, Medicine, and Technology. It's the second one. And you just click on that hyperlink.
Sure.
All the stories that we do that's in this kind of category, what do you see there? 290 pages time. I don't know, was it 30, 150 a page? It's a lot, okay? Now, this is just in the last, I don't know, it starts by the most recent, so it's, the last couple today, yesterday, the day before. You just scroll down and you can see all this stuff. You go to the next page. That's just a partial page because it goes to like 30 and then it starts over. But you go to the next one, the next one, the next one. Now, probably one of more interest to your audience, you go back and go to E for energy. Just hit E, go to the energy one. And they've got education. You see in there, educating government schools, education religious school, education secular, but you go to energy. Right. You click on energy, and what's going to be in there? It's going to be a lot of batteries and Tesla and electric car of clean alternative, whatever the hell.
Okay.
So imagine you're a homeschooler. Where would you get your current events? Where would you get your news? Where would you get the tech? Where would you go? You go into computer hardware. You go technology, computer hardware, technology, computer software. You go through, just look at all the categories, and you'll see hundreds, if not thousands of. I got 200,000 articles over the past 10 years put up here. It is an enormous resource for homeschoolers. You see my point?
Got it. I was going to say, now are you selecting these articles? You'll find the articles to put them in there, or you have like a crawler or some type of automated? Because
no, it's all me going through the internet, and I send them to staff that they get paid for each post. Now, a lot of them I'll put up. A lot of them people send me. A lot of them I have writers that write for it. I have staff that puts them up. I mean, it's a big thing.
Right. No, this is like a massive information resource.
Yeah, you go back to the beginning of energy, go at the bottom of the page, you'll see it'll say first, like page 1. I click the page 1, and when did I start this category? What's the date on there? December of 05 or 6, whatever that is. And I can't read it. But and it starts with, okay, what are we looking at? Oh, they started this. Oh, they did this. Oh, they did that. Oh, and you're going, damn, when did that start? Well, that was cool. That was when where'd that come from? Oh, all of a sudden you start to see the progression of the technology.
Yeah.
Tell me this is not a resource for a homeschooler.
Right. No, this is. And it kind of sifts through, whatever, your criteria is behind the article. You select the article and put it in there and say, boom, this is important. We might want to know about this at some point.
Whether it's good or bad. It could be a bad bill. It could be a bad, tech. It could be, but I get to pick the graphic.
Right.
This is what I think about that, making fun of whatever.
Right. Wow.
All right, man, I'll let you go. We can go on forever, but you I just wanted you to get my perspective. You can see why I'm so supportive of what you're doing, because you have exactly, and Brett and Richard and everything, this is what I create Freedom's Phoenix to do, was to have people like you help me save the planet through my grandkids.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Well, yeah, we can definitely. I agree. I totally am on the same wavelength. I'm committing my life to the education movement and doing something significant so that the next 30, 40, 50 years, our grandkids can have something better too. So I agree, man. I'll take a look at this, and but yeah, I'll start connecting folks and see how we can empower them with your resources. And I need to go through and see more about it. But
well, it's more, it links you to a bunch of other resources. See, now you understand why I gave that presentation in Acapulco. Right. Now it makes more sense. You can kind of see in a 25-minute slam bam, 50-something graphics and 20. How fast can Ernie talk and boom and get you? Go, wow, that was better than not. It was because of my understanding of this. Right,
it is, and it was great illustrations with what Elon Musk is doing in those technologies, those rockets. It was very, I don't know, I think just symbolic on what's possible with, government leaving us alone. And, we want to go to outer space and government's not invited. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
They're going to want to invite themselves, but, Hey, David, it was great spending time with you. I feel a lot better after this week and yesterday and going to kind of, you're just kind of person in this area of interest that, make me feel better, because I'm just man to man. So I'm hopefully people that, are your supporters or that listen to this extended 15 gazillion years, if I knew better, they'll be inspired and they'll go look and they'll start to see why we're so optimistic. Certainly I am.
Right. Absolutely. Yep, definitely. I see it as a bridge, and we're all on the same team, and they divide and conquer us. But once we realize we have so much similar interests and reasons for alliances, it's like, man, I want to create alliances with as many parents as people out there that want to empower the young people and, give them freedom. And I think, yeah, man, definitely we can, create some good relationship and see how we can direct people and let's see what they're doing. So,
don't forget about me. Don't forget about me.
So
educationoptionsnow.org. Let's get that out. educationoptionsnow.org. I apologize. What?
I was going to say, no, that we got to figure out the next time we'll connect. I'm not going to Pork Fest, but
no, next time when you get a 7-year-old go see movie, we're on it. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'll see if we can make that happen this weekend, and then maybe shoot you a call or a text.
Done.
Is this your line or Donna's here that you called me on?
This is the studio line.
Line? Okay.
All right. We don't. It doesn't ring, or we just use it for the. You can sit there and dial, and I never answer it. So my cell phone is on the site under contacts. So you can find me there.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, great. Well, then, we'll circle back, and definitely, man. We'll talk again soon, and thanks for having me on and getting a chance to get out there and talk about this.
It was a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you again. Peace.
Yeah, definitely. Talk to you later. And tell Donna goodbye. Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.